hello, welcome in everybody. Hello, we are finally, I've been putting off this video because it's so freaking long, but we are finally watching Philip Aziba Debunked, TikTok's Worst Conspiracy Theorist, Part 2 by Miniminuteman. I saw your guys' comments and you've been begging me to watch the second part, and I've always planned to watch the second part because I absolutely enjoyed the first one. But it is exactly 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 34 seconds long. So we're here for a long time. And with the amount of yaps I yap, we might be here for 2.5 to 3 hours. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And for today, I want you to comment your favorite ancient civilization, whether real or made up. Let's start. We have a long journey ahead of us. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum.
The uncontested king of bull. An account that I get tagged in so much, it clogs my inbox every single time I open TikTok.
Seeing giant creatures roaming around him, and he's brought to a shimmering rainbow city. All of this is in his diary. Built by completely different cultures with zero contact among each other and thousands of kilometers apart.
If people all over the world didn't have contact with each other, how did they know how to put the rocks going up?
You will not believe what they found there.
The single most egregious
It's Bob Kanush. I love it. His foreskin.
pseudoscience video I have ever seen in my entire life. It is one that is so bad, so poorly researched, and so far-reaching that I have literally used it as an example when giving guest lectures at universities.
These studies found out this hidden monument is over 35,000 years old and would be the oldest and largest pyramid in the world. For reference, here's a timeline of all major ancient
How much money do you think there is in lying to people on the internet? Probably a lot.
civilizations and structures built around the world. And here is where the Bosnian pyramid would stand in that timeline.
What the
Oh my
Philip?
god. Google Debunker mentioned!
Any new evidence that comes up.
Google debunkers.
Aside of the pyramids, the Google debunkers don't.
Google
want you to know about
debunkers.
The Google debunkers. The
Google
don't
debunkers.
want
Google
you to know about
debunkers.
this. The Google debunkers are trying to cover it up. The government is full of fucking Google debunkers.
Google
debunkers.
debunkers. Google debunkers. Google debunkers.
Google Debunker compilation.
This guy drives me fucking Google debunkers. I'm gonna be honest.
You know what else drives me Google debunkers? You guys.
Oh,
when we did
me?
the premiere for the last episode of Philip Aziba Debunked, some of y'all came up with a great idea. They're like, Milo, you should make a Google Debunkers hoodie
Yes, Google Debunkers
that
hoodie.
looks like this classic security hoodie. So that is exactly what we did. This idea just cracked me up so much when y'all suggested it, and so now it's a real thing. We also decided to add a little sheriff badge to the front because I thought it needed a little more. I was messing around with what slogan I wanted on it. I didn't want it to just say Google Debunkers again. I thought like, in Goog we trust, or something like that. And then my girlfriend suggested E pluribus Googum, which means out of many Googum, and I just thought that was so goddamn funny that it made it to the final print. So if you want to prove to the world that you are an official Google
Debunker
hoodie is available now. Link is in the description.
It also looks good in white, but black. Classic black is really nice. I think a navy blue or deep gray. I really love grays. I think gray's underutilized in t-shirt and merchandise.
And we're also going to do an enamel pin of
A pin, a shirt. I love that.
the sheriff badge. I think that's in pre-order now, and the link to that will also be in the description. Anyway, I appreciate all y'all's suggestions, as always, and it's really fun to be able to make something that y'all kind of thought up into an actual reality that you can now wear as part of the team. Anyway, thanks all
The
for
squad, the Google Debunking squad.
watching the second incredibly long part of this video. If you're just playing this in the background, or you clean your house or do homework or something, sauce me an interaction. It's like tipping the bellhop. I appreciate it. Anyway, remember to stay curious, stay inquisitive, and E pluribus Googum. Let's get back to the video.
Okay, now let's talk about masonry.
Oh, masonry.
Pyramid of Hellenikon in Greece has boulders that are joined so tightly that even a human hair can't fit through the joints without any sort of ancient cement used.
What? Rocks are too tight. Rocks are too tight. The rocks are too tight. Aliens. Aliens confirmed.
These bricks. Do you think you could fit a human hair between these? Wow.
It's called gravity.
What sort of lost advanced technology did they use to make this? I can't even fit a human hair between them. You can't fit a piece of paper between them. You can't fit a human hair between them. Of course you fucking can't. They're stacked on top of each other. Unless they were like levitating slightly, you're not going to be able to put anything between them.
Meanwhile, an almost
Does he want rocks to levitate? Will that confirm that there's no aliens?
identical masonry techniques was found in these walls in the city of Cusco in Peru called Sacsayhuaman.
Yes, it's called stacking rocks conveniently, and it's called a jigsaw puzzle, Philip.
Called fucking what? Sacsayhuaman. No, I said this earlier. I'm not normally one to roast people for the way they pronounce things. But then I found this Reuters article. But
Oh?
you couldn't fucking Google that? Sacsayhuaman. It's an even funnier
Saskatchewan? That seems pretty phonetic in my opinion. How bad did he do his butchered again?
name. It sounds like sexy woman. And I mean, what's not to love about that?
Over 11,000 kilometers away. And how old are these walls? Mainstream history will tell you they were built around the 15th century.
Mainstream history.
Mainstream history.
But researchers recently uncovered a writing system built directly within the blocks of these walls that's well over 30,000 years old.
I can find no evidence of this writing system being 30,000 years old. I really don't know where he gets that from. But this is more hyperdiffusion shit. You see, he does this a fucking lot. He's like, this thing looked like this thing, red line between them. This thing looked like this thing, red line between them. Atlantis. It doesn't take
Atlantis.
an archaeologist to
Aliens.
figure out that the reason there's so many structures that look kind of similar to each other and have similar building techniques all around the world is because they were all working with the same fucking materials, Philip. There's only so many ways you can stack rocks up. Another little interesting thing that I'm thinking looking at this.
Almost like the system works. So many people discovered that system because it actually works.
So I've been to Sacsayhuaman, and the reason that the stones are carved like this is because they are in the Andes Mountains, and so it's an active tectonic zone, so there's a lot of earthquakes up there. So the Incans, being, you know, very skilled and not taught by Atlanteans, taught by themselves, figured out how to make their stones almost like giant Lego bricks, so they all kind of fit together in these weird ways. That way, when there is an earthquake, the stones don't all come down. When the conquistadors
So
showed
smart.
up and decided to, you know, rape and pillage everything, they built their structures, and their structures, well, they sucked shit. And so when the earthquakes happened, they all fell over. And they were
Because they were bad craftsmen. I think I should move over so I'm not blocking Philip. But I feel like, I mean, Milo. But I feel like if I go over here, I'll block Philip. There's no place for me!
absolutely furious that all the Incan structures were standing while their homes collapsed around them. Now, a little similarity I'm noticing here is he talks about the Pyramid of Hellenikon, and I don't know as much about that one as I do about Sacsayhuaman, but I also do happen to know that it's a little bit of a tectonically active area around Greece as well. So, you think maybe two groups of people who were very in tune with their environment knew how to make structures that would survive there a long time? Or do you think the fucking aliens...
Again, a topic that does
Obviously, it's the aliens, Milo, because that's the convenient answer, because everything was just aliens, because humans are dumb-dumbs. Only ancient alien civilization can ever figure out how to do anything, because humans are just stupid.
deserves its own video.
No, it really doesn't deserve its own video. Just don't even bother. Why don't you make a video about something actually interesting? You're literally talking about fucking Sacsayhuaman. It's on its own is like just a fascinating archaeological site, and you literally can't even talk about it without making shit up. Like, talk about the history of it. Actually, you know what? No, Philip, please don't talk about the history of Sacsayhuaman, because again, I was just there. I will be releasing a full video of me actually on site telling you the facts about Sacsayhuaman, you know, without all this bullshit laced into it.
This exact method is also found on a site called Ahuvanapu on the remote Easter Island, older than even their legendary Moai heads, as well as Khafre's Valley Temple in Egypt.
These methods are identical. Philip, you're looking at rectangular rocks. How many different fucking ways do you think there are to stack up rocks? Please tell me you are not this stupid. Literally, what, like cylinders? You think like spheres or something?
Like circular rocks would work better.
Something stacked up? Like every shape that a rock can be and not fall off of the rock under it, humans have built something like that. You are reading into this so much. Holy fuck.
How did our ancient ancestors figure out these identical building techniques completely independent of each other when we still have no idea how they did it to this day?
We do know.
Philip, just because you don't know how to do it doesn't mean the rest of us don't understand how it works.
know how they did it, Philip. We know how they did it. Why don't you fucking Google this shit? Maybe you should take a page out of the Google Debunker's book and you could go do some Google debunking yourself.
So just to start, take a look at these ancient artifacts from Bolivia, Turkey, Indonesia, and Easter Island. 4 completely separate corners of the world, all with identical carvings and artistic.
Oh, it's almost as if humans look the same? That top right one is just a penis! Do you think penises look different on other humans?
styles used.
Who's your dealer? This dude has got to be like tripping fucking sack. I'm not even this dumb when I'm tripping. Those don't look anything like each other, Philip. I like how he says identical carvings here because...
What does he mean? Because their hands are on their belly?
He knows that if he said, look at all these statues of humans from around the world, it would sound really dumb. These are not remotely identical, and you have to be actually concussed to think that there's a
Just skill check!
similarity between these. Again, they are about as different as humanly possible. The eyes are different, the positions are different. These are all 4 of these are just depictions of humans on like rectangular stone bases. How many fucking ways do you think you can do this? I really love the thing that conspiracy theorists talk about where they're like, look where the hands are, and the hands are like here or here or something like that. Do you have any fucking idea how hard it would be to carve a 3-dimensional hand? Like, it's not the statue of David, it's a rectangular piece of stone and they have to put the hands on it somewhere. So of course they're all gonna kind of look the same.
But not just that, like, hands rest nice so comfortable on the belly. Like, who doesn't rest their hands on the belly once in a while?
You know, what are the ways that you hold your hands against your body? You can hold them like this. You can hold them down by your side like this. You can, what are the other ones? Oh, look, that's kind of all of them, down by your side or like this. Philip, as pissed as I am that you are willing to just lie to 1.5 million people on the internet in order to get clicks, I actually take a little bit of solace in it because I really want to believe that you are not stupid enough to actually believe this yourself. If you think that having multiple civilizations making multiple different looking statues of people around the world is evidence of a lost advanced civilization, you're the sheep. You are the sheep.
I know it sounds crazy, but you'd be surprised. Ancient lasers.
Okay,
Oh my god, no!
fuck off. Ancient fucking lasers. Got fucking Theta Chi here talking about ancient fucking lasers.
From these perfectly cut stone patterns in Pumapunku, Bolivia, to the unfinished obelisk at Aswan and the boxes at the Serapeum of Saqqara in Egypt, made of granite, one of the hardest materials ever, with insane accuracy only achievable with today's technology.
I only noticed this one in watching this video back, but did you catch that? Philip just called granite one of the hardest materials ever. We're gonna get into the granite cutting bullshit in just a second here, but granite has a hardness of between 6 and 8, which is decidedly not one of the hardest materials ever. No, I get it. It's on the harder end of the spectrum, so I could chalk this up to hyperbole, but I've listened to enough shitty conspiracy TikToks to know that the way that they sell these theories is by making the achievements of ancient people sound way harder than they actually were.
And a lot of people commented on the first video. A lot of it's rooted in really, really racist ideologies. Like, oh, these savage people of color, they could not make rocks nicely carved. They have no skill. They're just stupid, uncivilized. And it's true. And it's so sad when we see this in modern times. People like Philip spreading this misinformation and like absolute blasphemy against these ancient people who worked really, really hard to be good at their skills.
So they can suggest an outlandish explanation. So vocabulary like this is just a great way to trick your brain into thinking, wow, that's like absolutely impossible unless you have fucking lasers. So yeah, maybe it's a little nitpick, but listening to the vocabulary that Philip uses through these videos, it's very, very manipulative, and I feel the need to point it out so you guys can be aware of it as you start to come across it yourself. To put that into perspective, you know what has a hardness of around 7 right at the middle of the hardness spectrum for granite? Porcelain. Now, granted, or should I say granite, porcelain is a lot more brittle than granite is, but I still don't think I would ever hear anyone describe porcelain as being one of the hardest materials ever.
He's just showing examples of stoneworking around the world. Also, did you guys catch that?
Only achievable with today's technology.
That line. Only achievable with today's modern
Only
technology.
achievable.
No, it is not.
We just are more efficient at doing it. And we have technology so you don't have to have as much skill.
You are yet again moving the goalposts. Instead of actually supplying evidence for what you're saying, you are casting doubt on anyone who says that you're wrong. Notice how he's not actually showing any evidence for an ancient laser technology, like an actual machine capable of doing this. All he's doing is showing some sort of work that ancient people did and then saying that it would only be possible if you had this. There's no actual argument.
If only you had lightsabers.
There. He's literally just yapping.
The Al Nasla rock in Saudi Arabia literally looks like a giant laser beam just cut right through it.
It looks like it, but that doesn't mean it is. It looks like it doesn't mean it is.
Meanwhile, the Kailash temple in India, which was somehow cut into a cliffside with perfectly symmetrical hallways carved with copy-paste level precision.
I guess Philip is not an artist, let alone an OCD artist.
To mention the perfect doorways carved into Barabar caves
You call that a perfect doorway? It's slanted.
thousands of years earlier.
Philip, you could have a lifelong career making videos about the actual truth of these sites. You have mentioned fucking like 15 sites in the last, 2 minutes, all of which actually have like real history and research around them. Why the fuck are you not talking about these? There you go. There's an idea for you, Philip. Take this little map that you have up on the board. Why don't you just make a 2-minute video about each one of these sites? People would love it. And you know what? Even if it doesn't get 30 million views, you can rest your head at night knowing that you're not lying to children.
The incredible list of similarities among these ancient cultures tells us that they all clearly had some sort of external influence that guided them, which they actually recorded proof of directly into their stone tablets, wall carvings, and
You mean they're made up gods because they thought the sun was a god?
hieroglyphics. Alright, that might be enough for now. I think I'll save that for another video, so keep an eye out for that one if I don't disappear before then.
Oh my god. Ugh, cringe alert.
You're not going to disappear, Philip. You're just going to get this video made about you to live forever on the internet. And probably a lot of comments saying Google debunkers. Obviously, the whole masonry thing is an example of hyperdiffusion, and we've been over that a lot. But you kind of heard at the end here, the next place he sort of takes this is not only that the masonry techniques are very similar around the world, but that you needed some sort of ancient lost high technology in order to create them. And a big way that he backs up a lot of these claims is through discussions of precision.
Precision!
Each side of Giza is also about 755 feet long and are all within 2 inches of the same length as each other. That's a 99.98% range of accuracy.
Math existed for all of lifetime. Math has never not existed, Philip.
Once again, on par or even better than modern architecture.
It's not better than modern architecture.
Have you seen modern architecture? Oh, those buildings are fucking beautiful.
Philip. I don't know if Philip has ever met like anyone who actually works in the trades or, someone who's talented, but he talks about these ancient monuments like they were actually built using modern technology, and they were not. Don't get me wrong, they're really fucking impressive because ancient people were really good at doing a lot with a little. But to say that it's something that's only achievable with modern technology is just completely wrong. You are literally looking at a giant pile of evidence that is wrong.
The base of the pyramid is perfectly leveled to within 3/4 of an inch, something that's again only possible with like laser technology today.
A fucking skill issue, Philip. Yet again, you missed the opportunity here to actually talk about some interesting history, so I'll do it for you. One of the theories for how they managed to get the base of the pyramid so level is lasers. I'm fucking kidding. Of course. It's water. I said the ancient people were
Water and it levels.
good at, working smarter, not harder. They could do a lot with a little, that kind of thing. Sure, we have some amazing stuff today, like laser levels and things that can give you, exact millimeter accuracy. But nature is a pretty amazing toolbox, and water...
I mean, that's how we made the laser level, is because we had water levels first,
has a habit, when it's undisturbed, to be completely flat. So one of the theories for the way that they managed to get the base of the pyramid so level is they flooded the bottom place where the first blocks were going, and then they were able to etch into the side the height that the water was at.
So
that way,
smart.
When they placed the blocks in, everything was going to be completely symmetrical the whole way up. See, Philip? Smarter, not harder. Just because we'd be too stupid to figure it out doesn't mean that they were.
A structure that was made with 2.3 million stone blocks weighing between 2 and 80 tons each, built within allegedly 25 years. Meaning they'd have
25 years is a long time.
to place 10 stones an hour every hour for 25 years non-stop to achieve that. That's 1 stone every 6 minutes.
You know what, Philip? I actually can't believe I'm saying this, But I agree with you. I can't remember exactly where I heard it, but I heard someone talk a little while ago about the claim that the pyramids were built in like 20 years or something like that, or the Pyramid of Khufu was built within 20 years. And that seems to come from like a very old paper that really didn't have a lot backing it up. So honestly, I actually kind of agree with you. As far as I know, there's no actual like Egyptologist consensus on how long it took to build the Great Pyramid. And personally, I feel like 20 years is a little fast. I am not an Egyptologist, so I'm not going to speak as an authority figure on it like some of us are. But I agree with you. I think that there is room for that discussion, and I think we may be able to find evidence in the future that it took them longer to build it, because regardless of what tools they had at their disposal, and it wasn't lasers, it would take a long goddamn time to build that.
People love to refute this with, oh, they had slaves, like it's some magic silver bullet.
Oh, and the slave things is also wrong. It was mostly actually skilled laborers.
No, man, I don't think I've ever heard slaves described as a magic silver bullet, but it also wasn't built with slaves. I've made this mistake before. We all make this mistake.
It doesn't help that movies keep telling us over and over again that the pyramids were built by slaves.
At one point or another at America. The Great Pyramid was built by like craftsmen and laborers. It wasn't an enslaved force. I've said that before in my videos. It was as incorrect then as it is now. So just now you know.
But I think they might be forgetting about a little thing called logistics. As in, how do you physically coordinate 20, 30, 50,000 people to lay a colossal stone every 6 minutes, day and night for 25 years nonstop?
What's with this horrible AI images of dinosaurs carrying pyramid rocks, please?
Yeah, slaves, bro. They had slaves. Trust me, bro. It's even more ridiculous than these fringe theories.
Wow, that's a good soundbite. Slaves, bro. They had slaves, bro. I don't know what house he was in, but his brothers didn't haze him enough.
A large granite box carved by the Egyptians is on display at the Cairo Museum, which, by the way, granite is hard as
Well, that's not a very scientific measurement, is it, Philip? Hard as is about as reliable a unit as measurement as a shit ton or a fuckload. So, since Philip won't actually do his job, I'll do it again for him. Granite has a hardness between 6 and 8 on the Mohs hardness scale. 8 is a bit on the harder end, and this granite that they have in Egypt is around a 6 or a 7. So in order to cut through
6, 7.
this granite, you would need something with a hardness of or greater than it.
Typically use diamond-tipped electric buzzsaws to cut through it these days.
Again, moving the goalpost. We use electric diamond-tipped buzzsaws to cut through it today. Well, they didn't have fucking electric diamond-tipped buzzsaws, Philip, so they clearly didn't use them then.
So this box was abandoned by the Egyptians due to this mistake in the cut. Now wait, hold up. I want you to think about this for a sec. Seriously, the top Egyptologists claim this is how they cut granite back then. A rate of 4 millimeters per hour. And they're still standing by it.
So we don't actually know exactly why they abandoned this box. There's lots of examples of abandoned, stone.
People get bored of the project, or maybe they ran out of like money to work on it. Maybe they had a different job, a better, more lucrative thing to work on.
Pieces all around the world. Here's one of the abandoned T-pillars that I saw at Karhan Tepe. But we'll assume that he's right about this and that this is actually why they abandoned the box. And his claim here is, if it takes such a long time to cut through the granite, they would have noticed this sooner and not cut this far. If you look at some of the pictures of this sarcophagus, the cut is still almost directly on the guideline. So I'm gonna say right now, Philip, that is a piss-poor argument.
The top Egyptologists claim this is how they cut granite back then. A rate of 4 millimeters per hour, and they're still standing by it.
I wish I was as delusional as this guy. You have to have a pair of balls to actually say out loud, and archaeologists have the audacity to claim this is how granite was cut, while literally showing a video of them cutting granite in that way. You have to be a
Big Clint, that's how it's cut. As they're cutting.
fucking clown if you're gonna sit there talking about how ancient Egyptians had laser cutting technology while showing a video of archaeologists doing it in the way that they actually did it. Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh my god. It's just insane. Like, you can't take yourself seriously.
They'd have no reason to continue sawing the granite for hours or even days.
This reminds me of those things. There's the hobby of polishing a rock or a ball of dirt. It's a thing that they do. It was a popular thing they did in Japan, and you'd polish it by just rubbing it over and over again until it became this like super shiny polished ball of dirt. And like Philip probably thinks it was made by aliens. Because how could human hands make something so shiny?
Days longer as soon as they saw this inaccuracy.
Philip, that is a straight fucking line. Stop trying to like project into what the Egyptian craftsmen were thinking 3,000 years ago when they made this sarcophagus. Look at the fucking image you have up on screen right now, that black and white one. That line is like bang on. Even if they did abandon this because the line is slightly off, that has nothing to do with fucking laser technology. Jesus Christ, dude. That is like the weakest evidence I've ever heard. Again, I'm pissed at you for peddling this shit in order to get clicks, but I'm glad you don't believe it, because if you did, I would have a really hard time not calling you an idiot.
Unless they were using some other unknown cutting technique, one that is far quicker.
Yo, is that the dendrolite? Hold up. Wow, if only there was a great, cool, long-haired hippie archaeology YouTuber who made a whole video about the dendrolite.
Far quicker than our history books suggest, and possibly far more advanced than even our diamond-tipped buzzsaws.
No, they absolutely did not have technology more advanced than our diamond-tipped buzzsaws. Chill the fuck out, Philip. You know what? Let's do a little thought experiment for a second. I'm gonna pretend for a second that I am also slightly brain dead, and we're gonna look at this sarcophagus and say that they abandoned it because they, zinged it with their diamond-tipped buzzsaw and it went off kilter a little bit. If I were an ancient Egyptian with laser cutting technology, what I would do is I would finish the cut and then smooth the side down, because I have power tools capable of doing that. Whereas if I was working with copper tools, I would be a lot more likely to abandon the project because it takes so much more work to actually make any progress on it. This is actually more evidence that they didn't have advanced cutting technology, because if they did, they could have just done the cut again. God.
Hey, yo, I gotta go. I've said too much.
Yo, I gotta go. I've said too much. They're trying to
The Pobo's coming!
silence me, guys. The woke media is trying to silence me. Please, someone pay attention to me. All right, what's next, Philip? Let's talk about some stone blocks.
Turns out the pyramid deniers were right this entire time, and it is possible to build pyramids today.
What the fuck is a pyramid denier? First we got Google debunkers, now we got pyramid deniers. I need like a little vocab book to go through. Like I need to speak Fallopian.
Let me show you how it's done. First, we obviously gotta prep our stone blocks using high-powered 20th century machinery.
Philip, that is so not a gotcha. That is... Oh, the smug fucking...
Because we don't want to spend 30 to 50 years making a pyramid, Philip. So we have tools and the means to go faster. Back then, they just took time. They had patience. Philip, maybe you should try having patience, Philip.
Delivery. First, we have to prep our stone blocks using high-powered 20th century machinery. Why the fuck do you think people will be doing this with copper saws or something? If we really do have diamond-tipped buzz saws, why the fuck would we not use them? You are not proving shit with this. That is such a stupid argument. See, we do it like this today, and as we all know, no one has ever been able to do it ever before this. You know that we built masonry constructions more than 200 years ago, right? Even though those weren't built by ancient Egyptians, they also didn't have diamond-tipped buzz saws. Why the fuck is this such a hard concept for you to grasp?
Let's load it up in this truck
Because he's low-key racist.
right here. Oh,
He never talks about the old European buildings.
let's try again over here. Oh, whoops.
Why do those videos look AI?
So you can see where this is going. This is Philip just smugly showing videos of crane operators and trucks doing a really bad job of transporting big rocks. And he's not proving anything. He thinks he's being really clever and being see, we can't even do it today with modern technology. But the kind of goofy shit that Philip
Some people are just bad at moving rocks,
doesn't realize here is that he's showing people who are doing this in probably the worst way possible. Anyone who's ever taken a physics class or, even maybe shown up to school a day or two knows that if you're moving something heavy, it requires less force to push it across the ground than it does to lift it straight up.
This modern crane right here should do the trick. Yeah, maybe not.
These crane operators and shit are lifting these rocks up to precarious angles and then dropping them into trucks that are clearly not big enough to transport them. This does not prove anything other than that some countries don't have fucking OSHA. I really wonder if Philip has worked. At least in the trades. I gotta ask. Again, I went to a Voc school. I did environmental site remediation for a while. Like, I've seen some trades. My dad's a historic preservationist, and he works on, like, you know, restoring historic buildings and shit. And on these buildings, they have stonemasons where, you know, they bring in stone on trucks, and they're out there with fucking chisels, like, you know, carving it. It's fucking magnificent work. Philip, I challenge you to go to a place where there are people who are actually working. Go to a stone quarry and ask them how they move the fucking stone.
Turns out even modern technology struggles to lift these megalithic stones, and the ones we saw here weren't even more than like 20 tons.
Dude, look at the 2 enormous stones on the back of that truck with 2 tires in the back. No fucking shit, that's not working. That does not prove a goddamn point, Philip.
Largest stones in the pyramid are found in the ceiling of the king's chamber. Red granite weighing up to 80 tons, which is as heavy as 2 Boeing 737 planes cut from the Aswan quarry over 1,000 kilometers away.
Wow, cut from the quarry 1,000 miles away? How did they do that? It's a quarry that is 1,000 miles away on the Nile River, Philip. Boats. They put it in boats. But Milo, how did they transport a 1,000-ton stone on boats? They were primitive savages. Buoyancy. Ships are capable of
Ships are strong!
carrying really fucking heavy loads. Look at any like tanker ship, container ship. And obviously these people were working with wooden boats at the time, so it seems like something that shouldn't even be possible. But if you don't believe that was possible, then you also shouldn't believe that a British man of war could have carried all those fucking cannons and all those supplies and all the shit and ballast that they have in them. And yet they did, but one of them was built by the civilizers of the world, and one was built by these primitive savage barbarians. And so
Exactly what we were saying.
very clearly there's one I'll believe and I won't believe the other.
But they probably just used ropes and sleds, right?
Yeah, they probably just used ropes and sleds, right? Right? Philip, wouldn't it be really embarrassing if, no matter how smugly you said that, there's actual evidence from the Egyptians that that is exactly what they did? Have a look at this carving. What do you
Oh
think
yeah, look, a carving!
of that, Philip? This is a carving from the tomb of Jehotiotep, and it quite literally shows Egyptians moving an enormous statue by dragging it. Or do you want to try and tell me that this was a giant? I'm just telling you, Philip, you could do with
Don't give him that! He'll call it a giant!
Google debunkers every once in a while.
Ceiling stones of the King's Chamber and the Great Pyramid of Giza were around 80 tons each, lifted over 50 meters off the ground over 4,000 years ago, all with allegedly more primitive technology. Not sure how they did that.
Ooh, I can't tell if that's a bad faith argument or if you're just kind of a dumbass. Lifted more than 50 meters off of the ground. The stones in the King's Chamber are more than 50 meters off the ground. That does not mean that they were lifted 50 meters off the ground. But since you started this video by showing a bunch of cranes falling over, it makes the most sense to support your argument by saying, see, if we can't lift them off the ground with modern technology, how could
He was building up that idea. Look at how stupid people can't lift stupid rocks. How can even stupider people not lift stupid rocks?
they have? But the Egyptians weren't a bunch of idiots. So instead of lifting them off the ground, because that would be insanely difficult to do, they slid them along the ground. Still incredibly challenging and a really impressive feat, but way easier than thinking you're gonna lift an 80-ton stone 50 meters into the air. Philip, you have got to be kidding me. None of you need me to explain this to you because all of you have done, I don't even want to say research, you're just not stupid, but we have extensive evidence to suggest that the pyramid was kind of built in like a little bit of a step fashion, where they'd like work on ramps and sort of like bring things up and then kind of keep building up like that.
Because that makes sense. That's why it's a pyramid shape and not like a square.
So instead of the ancient Egyptians, you know, standing there and being like, okay, yeah, we're gonna put a pyramid here. The King's Chamber will be about 50 meters off the ground up there. So could you guys just help me with this thing? Just, yeah, lift with your legs. This thing's gonna be heavy. They built up to where the King's Chamber was gonna be and then drag those stones up as well and put them on top. It's still really impressive, don't get me wrong, but you're like making it sound like it was harder so that you can give a more ridiculous explanation for it.
Why on earth would you build a roof like this that just makes the job 10 times harder using 80-ton stone blocks from hundreds of miles away that you can't even see from inside the chamber when it's done?
Huh, that's a really good question, Philip. Do you have any suggestions?
Historians will tell you they were relieving chambers, meant to keep the room from collapsing from the great weight of the pyramid overhead, even
Oh, so the actual answer.
though the chambers below had no such relief.
Oh, okay, well there you go. Thank you for actually doing some research this time, Philip. It's a damn shame that you decided to phrase it as, can you believe these stupid Egyptologists think that it was so that the fucking many tons of stone wouldn't collapse the hole inside of it? It's a vaulted ceiling, Philip. It's a vaulted ceiling. in a huge empty cavity in a giant pile of stones. The Egyptians weren't fucking idiots. They built a lot of pyramids that fell over before this, so they knew how to build a pyramid by this point. I can't believe it. It's just like, this is why I think that we need to make voc tech schools mandatory. This is like a hill that I'm like dying on. Like if I ever actually like run for office or anything, I will insist that we like fucking octuple funding to voc tech schools. They just give kids so much, like, I'll speak the moon and stars of them. This is a complete tangent. But like, they just give kids so many good, like, real world trades. Like, I had friends who were in like the trades, you know, like carpentry, welding, plumbing, that kind of thing. Out of high school, they were making like 6 figures and they never needed to go to college. But just listening to this guy talk, like the things he's talking about, I don't even need my archaeology degree to talk about all of it. Like, it's just common sense. If you have, you know, gone to Skills USA or FFA or had any fucking hands-on, tangible, you know, skill trade experience in your life, you could make this video yourself.
The fact that we're even questioning the technological possibility of building stone block pyramids with the advanced cranes and trucks of today is impressive on its own.
We are not questioning it, Philip. You are questioning it. You are questioning it because you have a fucking skill issue. We all know that they did it. There's the proof.
And
It's there, so therefore they did it.
we haven't done it yet, so we don't even have hard proof that we actually can.
I will ask you again, why? Why would we build a pyramid?
Apparently, you two, we gotta build a pyramid for Philip to prove that pyramids can still be built today.
We have no reason to build a pyramid. Not having built a pyramid is not evidence that we are incapable of building a pyramid. I am not currently doing a cartwheel. Does that mean I am incapable of doing a cartwheel?
Yes.
Should I do a cartwheel? This is also a completely different argument than everything else you've been saying up until this point. Previously, he was like, you could only build these pyramids with advanced modern technology. And now he's like, even advanced modern technology struggles to do it. And
He keeps contradicting himself.
then his end thesis is, we couldn't even do it with modern technology. So what fucking is it, Philip? What argument are you trying to make? That's the thing I've noticed with all your videos. They're so fucking redundant. Like, you don't have anywhere you're going with it. You just, like, find a conspiracy and then just rattle it off again. It doesn't matter if it's in line with anything else you've already said. When they said you could be anything, you could have picked something other than a lying hypocrite.
Ancient Egyptians had hieroglyphs outlining nearly every aspect of their lives, but not a single one of them depicts the construction of the pyramids. They probably just forgot to record the greatest achievement in their civilization's history, right?
You are again viewing this through a modern lens. In our eyes, the pyramids are the greatest achievement in their civilization's history. And yeah, it's pretty fucking impressive. But you know what? I did a little Google debunking, and there actually are manuscripts left over from them building the Great Pyramid. This is a papyrus left over from one of the inspectors who was helping construct the Pyramid of Khufu. I'll read you a quick quote real quick. The hieroglyphic letters inscribed in the logbook were written more than 4,500 years ago by a middle-ranking inspector named Merer, who detailed over the course of several months the construction operations at the Great Pyramid, which was nearing completion, and the work at limestone quarries at Tura on the opposite bank of the Nile. This papyrus talks about a shitload of rocks. This papyrus talks about a shipload of rocks that were being sent to the construction of the Pyramid of Khufu. Wow, I wonder if there's any evidence that they used ships to transport the rocks. It's also worth noting, and I'm going to get into this a little bit more in a minute because Philip brings it up again, is that the Great Pyramid of Giza is like more than 4,000 years old. The culture of Egypt changed a lot in the time that he is blanket terming ancient Egypt. So later he'll bring up, like, there's carvings in these other tombs, but not in the Great Pyramid. Why is that? It's because they were built fucking 1,500 years apart. The culture had changed. The style had changed.
What they wanted to do has changed, you know? I mean, 100 years is a long time, and people have, like, there's multiple generations later, and people are not the same people anymore.
The way that burial ceremonies were done had changed. There not being carvings on the inside of the Great Pyramid does not prove shit.
Here's a 1-ton block of stone versus a truck. Yeah.
Philip,
Because your average truck kind of sucks.
you look like the kind of guy who would drive a truck. And I almost even think that you would be smart enough to know that that is way too big of a fucking rock to put in a truck bed. Googling compilation of people doing stupid things with huge rocks does not prove your point.
Instead of completely shutting down speculation on how these impressive structures were made, maybe we should be asking ourselves, what lost technology did our ancient ancestors have?
I hate that he ends his videos like this. He spends the whole video being like, mainstream archaeology's lying to you. They don't want you to know about this. The Google debunkers will tell you. And then at the end he goes, we can't just shut down questions. We're just trying to have a conversation here. Philip, you got no right to fucking pack a video full of like vitriolic bullshit and then end it by being like, guys, I just want to talk. So Philip has a lot of beliefs about the pyramids, but one that he holds very strongly is that the pyramids are not tombs.
Oh. Pyramids, tombs? No, cool Asian.
Heyo, continuity error check. Oh god, I'm back in here again. What the fuck?
Oh, continuity error.
It's been, maple season is in, full swing here. What was that about?
Yay, maple!
So, over the course of the last few days, I have been hauling jugs of maple sap up and down a hill, which is why I am no longer wearing the same outfit, and I'm also a little bit sunburned. So now, about 30 jars of maple syrup later, I'm ready to talk about Philip again. 10,000 likes, I'll start a homesteading channel. Okay, where were we, you absolute goober?
Take, for example, the Great Pyramid of Giza, the biggest one there is, which is said to have been built as a tomb for Khufu, despite it having zero characteristics of actual Egyptian tombs.
We are starting off strong, aren't we? This is why I made very clear to point out earlier how it's not a good idea to listen to people who have no background in archaeology who are trying to talk like authority figures in archaeology. I also want to preface this whole part by saying that I am part of this group. I am not an Egyptologist, but at the very least, I have studied archaeology, so I can apply a little bit of what I'm doing here, but I'm not going to act like I'm an authority figure in Egyptology. But unfortunately, Philip, who appears to have his degree from the Barstool website, is talking like he's an authority figure in archaeology, so now we have to do a bit of a blind leading the blind situation. I didn't want to have to do this, Philip, but you're going to make me pretend to be an Egyptologist. Philip immediately starts off with a bad faith argument. What's that? What did he say again?
Despite it having zero characteristics of actual Egyptian tombs.
Despite it having zero characteristics of actual Egyptian tombs. I'm sorry, Philip. I'm pretty sure a pyramid is like the most iconic form of Egyptian tomb. You know that the Great Pyramid isn't the only one, right? It's part of a mortuary complex. There's a bunch of pyramids there. It is insane to me that he can just start off by confidently saying something that is like so incredibly wrong. It has absolutely no resemblance to Egyptian tombs. Well, how do I know so much about Egyptology? Well, there was this one episode of Joe Rogan where
In the Valley of Kings, a complex of underground tombs complete with enormous grand entrances and hallways adorned with hieroglyphs, beautiful wall art, and intricate architecture.
Dude, absolute fucking sheep. You think that the Valley of Kings has any resemblance to Egyptian tombs? I mean, look at these things. Clearly not tombs.
And here we have
Clearly not. Where's the dead
the
bodies?
Great Pyramid of Giza. Narrow tunnels, awkwardly angled walkways, and passageways you literally have to crawl to get through. And
And remember, this is one of the older pyramids.
those wood steps you see, we added ourselves in recent times because they were literally unwalkable when first
Because it's a tomb. Why would anybody walk in a tomb? That's where the dead lay.
discovered.
Oh man. Philip's definition for why something can't be a certain way is just because he has a hard time believing it. We had to add stairs because it was so hard to walk in it. No shit, Philip. It was a tomb. You weren't supposed to walk in it. What the fuck, dude? Modern Egyptologists want you to think that the Egyptians didn't just try and make it as easy as possible to waltz into the king's chamber. So I'm gonna boil down what Philip's point is here. He thinks that the Pyramid of Giza isn't a tomb. He doesn't really talk about the other great pyramids.
Also, if it isn't a tomb, why is it not walkable, Philip? If not tomb-shaped, why tomb-shaped?
Which is weird because, again, funerary complex. But he really seems hell-bent on the idea that the Great Pyramid of Giza is not a tomb for Khufu. His reasoning behind this is, if you look at the Valley of Kings, you know, they found actual mummies in the tombs, they found a bunch of grave goods, they found, you know, hieroglyphics and carvings on the wall, and there was none of that in the Great Pyramid, and therefore it couldn't have been a tomb. You can yet again tell here that Philip has absolutely no expertise in any of this because he is clumping together the blanket term ancient Egypt. There's about a 1,000-year span from the construction of the Pyramid of Giza to the use of the Valley of Kings. This was not just one homogeneous civilization that existed from like 3000 BC until like, you know, the end of the Roman Empire or whatever.
It's like saying, like, even the last couple of 100 years in North America, you know, like being like, oh, why is it so different? That's so strange.
The modern idea of ancient Egypt is that it was like one civilization that acted the same way the whole time, and, you know, they made their little carvings doing this, and that was just it for fucking 4,000 years. Cleopatra was born closer to us living right now than she was to the construction of the pyramid Pyramid of Giza. The Pyramid of Giza was ancient to the people of ancient Rome. So of course, if you have just sort of a surface level understanding of ancient Egypt, you're not going to look at there being a chronological timeline and how the culture changed over time. So in Philip's eyes, it makes sense that if you look at, where they found King Tut and these like very classic Egyptian tombs, they look so much different than the pyramid, and therefore the pyramid couldn't have been a burial structure. But what you're looking at here is a transition of culture and, burial customs changing over time. At the time when the Pyramid of Khufu was built, it wasn't very customary to add carvings to the inside of tombs. You will notice this in a lot of pyramids, where, well, Philip correctly points out, if you go to the Valley of Kings, you will see lots of carvings on the inside of the tombs. Now, again, I'm not an Egyptologist, so I'm not going to speak like an authority figure of why I know that is, but that is a way that the culture shifted over time. They're also completely different structures. The Valley of Tombs is like carved into the ground, while the Great Pyramids are actual fucking mountains that people made. He makes a big stink about, like, the passageways are just so narrow, which A, as I said earlier, it was a tomb, you're not really supposed to go through it, and B, no shit, you are building a mountain of rocks. You don't exactly want to have a lot of hollow space in the middle.
Yeah, because the hollow space means it's a higher chance of collapsing.
There were other pyramids that they built out of like mud, I think like the Black Pyramid or something, that just like completely collapsed while they were building it. They learned pretty fucking quickly that building a massive pile of rocks without the proper support in the middle would be kind of a big problem. God, I wonder why they put all those huge 80-ton stones above the king's chamber. It couldn't have been to disperse weight or anything.
Strangely designed and, although impressive, kind of plain looking inner chambers. No artifacts, no hieroglyphs, no carvings, no wall art was ever found inside of Giza.
So the argument goes like this. The Pyramid of Giza could not have been a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu because I think it's kind of boring. No, Philip, that's fucking sound logic right there. Are you sure you don't have a degree in Egyptology? Because you really seem to know what you're talking about.
In fact, not a single mummy was found in this pyramid, or any Egyptian pyramid for that matter, and yes, that's a fact, go search it up.
Whoa. Philip, did you just tell me to actually do research?
He told him to Google debunk!
I thought your whole thing was to dunk on the Google debunkers. How are you supposed to be an anti-intellectual when you're telling people to do research? You know what, Philip? I'm going to take you up on that. Okay, so I just did a quick preliminary search of all of the human remains that were found in pyramids in ancient Egypt. Now, Philip, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I am saying that it was kind of stupid of you to tell people to Google something when they could so easily find that you were wrong. I'm gonna be totally transparent with you guys. This is a list that I just found on Wikipedia. But Milo, your whole thing is doing well-researched videos. I'm sorry, if I'm talking about a guy who is literally just blowing smoke out of his ass, Wikipedia is a step up, all right? So here you go, Philip. If someone were to actually do their research and Google what you just told them to Google, they would find this exact same Wikipedia list that I'm gonna read to you right now. This is gonna be a long one. Buckle in, everybody. The Pyramid of Djoser, mummified left foot, disarticulated remains of a female mummy. The Red Pyramid, disarticulated human remains. Disarticulated human remains. Pyramid of Menacor, pyramid skull fragments. Pyramid of Neferefre, the mummy of Neferefre, mummy of a woman. Pyramid of Jakara Isi, mummy of an old man. Pyramid of Pirgas, unidentified pyramids of mummy one. Pyramid of second and bone fragments. Pyramid of young man. 6 female mummies. Burial chamber of At in Dashur, mummy of At. Burial chamber of holy God. Chenmetneferhejet, mummy of Chenmetneferhejet. And lastly, Pyramid of Amenemhet III, bone fragments. Philip, you baffle me. I don't know how you can spend so much time throwing around the word Google debunker to try and prevent people from doing their own research, but you strike a new low when, for the first time you actually tell people to research something, you can be so easily proven wrong. For all of you watching, this is a perfect example of anti-intellectualism, which is something that Philip does in pretty much every single one of his videos. Now, again, being completely candid here, Philip is being a sellout who is using the Google debunker thing as, a bit of a jab to sort of like rile people up, which, you could argue it worked. But the bigger problem with that is that Philip is actively trying to prevent people from doing research. And the reason that so many of these pseudoscience shills are trying to prevent people from doing research is because if they do research, they will find out that what they're saying is bullshit. So, well, yes, Philip throws around Google debunker like a half-assed playground insult. What he's really doing is trying to make sure that you don't get wise to the fact that he's just straight up lying to your face. I don't know if I said this earlier in the video, so I'm gonna say it
Make fun of people that do research so that the people that watch you don't do the research.
now. If you ever come across anyone who tells you not to research something, they are fucking lying to you. Be immensely wary of anyone who tries to tell you not to research things or not to look into facts further, because they have a reason for trying to keep you in the dark.
We're told that they were raided by thieves, and that's why there's nothing left. Really? Did the thieves steal the carvings and paint on the walls too?
God. You have no right to be that smug and that wrong. Really? Did they steal the carvings off the wall? There is a line from one of my favorite movies of all time, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and it's just burned into my mind, and I think it is perfectly applicable here.
Goose-stepping morons like yourself should try reading books instead of burning them.
Philip, you spend so much time discouraging people from using the information that we have at our fingertips. You work harder to prevent people from doing research than you do to do your own fucking research. You're so fucking smug about what, did they steal the carvings off the wall? There was no carvings on the wall in the first place. You would know this if you researched the fucking era these pyramids were made. That was like a hallmark part of these constructions. There was no carvings in them. But because you can't even be fucked to open a search engine, you're just peddling misinformation to 1.5 million people. I'm going to say this a lot in this video, and I promise I am taking this to a place later where I'm actually going to give you like constructive criticism, but as of right now, all I can say is you should be fucking ashamed that you were using your content for this. That said, he also smugly starts this out by saying like, they just tell us that all the mummies were stolen. Yeah. Philip, why do you think that they...
They're old tombs, very old tombs. You don't think somebody would raid them? Because Philip, you know you would raid them if they were there.
Still find mummies in the tombs that are buried underground, but they don't find very many in the gigantic billboard that says, come here for all the rich guys' loot. Have you like ever played like a fucking video game or something? If you see some cool thing on the horizon, the very first thing you do is beeline over to it and steal everything. I find it really funny that your counter-arguments for all of the mainstream theories just involve saying what the mainstream theory is in sort of like a snarky voice.
Oh my god, the mainstream is trying to control you, the mainstream.
And then saying like, pfft, and they really want us to believe that? You got a better explanation, Philip? Oh, well, he thinks he does. He's about to talk about how the pyramid was a giant power plant.
What?
Really? Did the thieves steal the carvings and paint on the walls too? The sarcophagus in Giza, where they assume Khufu's mummy was kept and also stolen by those pesky thieves.
Pesky thieves. Those damn pesky thieves.
By those pesky thieves. God, you are such a fucking dude. All right, Philip, let me ask you something. I'm gonna appeal to whatever logic center in your brain is still firing. If you, thought experiment here, if you were to put a human mummy in the inside of what was for a very long time the largest man-made human structure on the planet, would you expect it to still be there after 4,000 years?
No.
You have got to be fucking off your shit. You have this persona where you seem like you're like, you know, kind of the fucking underdog who's telling like the hard truths. But the moment you break past sort of the persona you have, you just kind of sound like a dumbass. And like, I know you're not a dumbass. We're gonna get into some of your other videos later, but I don't know why this is the persona you've chosen. There's nothing like cool and controversial about genuinely thinking that a mummy would survive untouched for 4,000 years in a pyramid. Jesus Christ.
Was this plain-looking granite box in a room with flooring and walls that were cut with greater precision than the box itself. Ancient Egyptians saw pharaohs as gods, so yeah, let's just stuff the one that we made a whole-ass pyramid for into this crude box with narrow chambers, tiny shafts, and no stories or wall art commemorating their death?
I'm only seeing one tiny shaft in this room, Philip, and it sure as fuck ain't me. This is yet another argument where Philip says, it can't be because I just don't think so. He picks his words in a very manipulative way here, as a lot of these conspiracy theorists do. They revered them as gods, so why would they just stuff them in a tiny box? You know what the Great Pyramid is, right? You know that the box isn't the part of it. It's a box inside of the Great fucking Pyramid, Philip. It's a little bigger than the box. You cannot tell me that the ancient Egyptians revered their pharaohs as gods and that isn't a godly burial. Are you
I'm sorry, it's not living up to your standards, Philip.
actually insane? Like, dude, oh my god. I really hope this is a bit. Like, I would be really disappointed if this is like a caricature that you're putting on, because like, it's kind of sad that you have to just say things that are stupid in order to get clicks, because I know you don't have to do that. You're a good communicator.
Insert stupid statement right here that makes you guys watch more of my videos.
But like, I don't want to believe that this is actually you as a person. Cause like, that's fucking goofy.
Here's what King Tut's tree looked like, and King Ramses.
I'm sorry they didn't do a good job for Khufu, okay?
Art and masterfully designed, both of which were found in the Valley of Kings.
Yeah, because they were carved 1,000 years later, at the time in Egyptian history when they started to add carvings to the inside of tombs. They were also done underground so they could make the passages bigger, and also because they were underground, things didn't get stolen because they were harder to find. Jesus Christ, I know they say that men's prefrontal cortexes don't finish developing until they're, what, 23 or 4? But Philip looks like he's at least 28, maybe.
I don't know. How old is Philip?
But I don't know, maybe he's like 16 or something and just aged really badly.
And here's the tomb of the guy they dedicated the biggest structure in the world for.
I don't know. For some reason, Philip is giving millennial vibes. I feel like he's definitely... Oh, but maybe he's young. I don't know, chat. Please comment below what you think Philip's age is. And if you actually know the answer, please let me know as well.
On the other hand, King Ramses had some of the most massive statues built in his name, weighing up to 1,000 tons that we see remnants of sprawled all throughout ancient Egypt. Meanwhile, the man who had the largest tomb in history has only one recovered statue we've ever found. It's 3 inches tall.
Okay, again, I'm not an Egyptologist, so what I'm going to do here is not talk like an authority figure in Egyptology. But what I am going to say, yet again, is that there's like 1,000-year time difference here. Or when did Ramses rule? Damn, Philip, there's fucking 1,300 years of difference here. Okay, Ramses ruled in 1213 BCE, and the Great Pyramid was built in 2600 BCE. These conspiracy theorists rely on, making arguments like this because to them, we have all the puzzle pieces. Ancient Egypt is one homogeneous thing. It is ancient Egypt. It was the same from the start till the end. Any differences in that time is some massive anomaly that needs to be explained through fucking aliens or lasers or something. Because no conspiracy theorists have actual background in archaeology or Egyptology or any of this shit, they don't have the nuance to understand how the culture has changed through time. That's why there's archaeologists who specify in certain fucking textiles from one part of the world over like a 10-year span, because there's so much information to tell on it. No, I don't have a problem with people talking about multiple places around the world. I mean, hell, that's kind of what I do. I haven't declared a specific part of archaeology that I have, gone for my PhD in yet. But yet again, there's a big difference between talking about multiple different archaeological sites and the research and findings from all of them and doing this bullshit where you talk about every part of the world as if you know more than all of the people who actually researched those parts of the world.
It's so ignorant, honestly.
Let me get this straight. Giza, the most epic and just painstakingly difficult structure on the planet, was a tomb with absolutely no characteristics of a tomb for a pharaoh with
no characteristics of a tomb. If not tomb, why tomb-shaped? If not tomb, why small corridors? If not tomb, why dead bodies?
visible remaining presence in Egypt and whose body was never found.
This guy's exhausting. I'm not surprised it's taken me 3 days to get to this part of filming. Yeah, wow, you know what, Philip? No, totally. The pyramid, the guy that found the guy was 3 inches tall, and the pyramid wasn't a tomb because I don't like that, and I now need to argue about something really dumb. Because apparently the pyramid was a power plant. Oh wait, no, never mind. We're on to the pyramid numbers section.
Pyramid numbers?
Altitude of the pyramid passes directly through this coordinate, which...
Oh, no, no, no. I feel like my brain rots when Philip talks, and then my brain heals a little bit when Milo talks. It's like, I can't. It's the coordinate is perfect, 69.
Just so happens to be the exact measurement of the speed of light in a vacuum to 9 digits. But
to 9 digits. Oh my god, causation, correlation.
Probably just a coincidence, right?
Okay, so this is a classic conspiracy argument, and I'm not going to bother going through every single one of them because we'd be here all day, as if we aren't here all day enough already.
We're only 47 minutes in!
Conspiracy theorists like Philip like to just list off all these numbers that are sort of related to the pyramid. The coordinates are the speed of light, something it's a scale model of the earth, all this shit. Now these arguments are just fucking wild to me. A, it implies that ancient Egyptians used the metric system, which I think is really funny. B, most of the things that he says aren't spot on. Yes, the coordinate for the speed of light passes nearby to the pyramids, but it isn't an exact match. He also kind of shifts numbers around. He talks about the weight of the pyramid without really realizing that the pyramid has lost a lot of its weight over time, so it would have been much heavier when all of the stones were there.
Pyramid of Giza is estimated to weigh around this many metric tons. The entire mass of the earth is that many metric tons, making the weight of the pyramid an almost perfect scale of the earth's total mass.
Oh. No. Oh my god, you weigh the exact same weight as a rock, therefore you and the rock, that rock was strategically put there to weigh exactly like you. Oh my god, it must be aliens.
Coincidences, right?
It's really just like a mental gymnastics of trying to see how many coincidences you can find.
If you drew lines from out of the cardinal
It reminds me of those graphs, like if you can look up random graphs that correlate with each other, that just happen to be the same. I think it was like the popularity of the name Joshua and arson.
points of the pyramid and wrap them all the way around the world, they would go through more land than any other point in the entire world, essentially placing the pyramid at the center of landmass of the whole world. Just another coincidence, right?
I like that
Oh my goodness.
one because I have no idea how to prove or disprove it. But it also implies that that was like a conscious decision, which I promise you it definitely fucking wasn't. Because if the ancient Egyptians were like, wow, we should build a structure at the center of landmass of the whole world because we have the entire world mapped somehow, and they weren't in the Nile River Valley, they would have moved from wherever they were in the world to build the pyramid in the Nile River Valley, which is
It just happens to be a lucky coincidence if that's true.
just a fucking whack idea, but sure, go off. So I really can't be fucked to go through all these things. Many of the numbers do line up, sort of. Again, a lot of them are not spot on, but you know, they're close enough. But even if they do line up, there's really no way to prove or disprove that the Egyptians did it on purpose. You can kind of use Occam's razor and assume that they didn't know that they were at the center of landmass of the entire planet. But whether the things line up or not, I can't really argue if it was done intentionally because, you know, I'm an archaeologist and I'm not gonna just jump to conclusions. But what I can do is illustrate how easy it is to do this shit. So really nice.
Yes, please.
My best friend and I decided to come up with some of these theories for ourselves to illustrate to all of you how easy it is to pull this bullshit. If you want to see a longer cut of this, I released it for my April Fool's video. And if you want to see the really long uncut version of us just kind of getting stoned and coming up with conspiracy theories, you can check it out on my second channel. It's like an hour long, link in the description. It's pretty fun. So anyway, here is the truth.
The truth!
Pro Shop's pyramid.
ChatGPT, give me all of the stats of the Bass Pro Shop pyramid. Indoor swamp is home to more than 600,000 gallons of water and houses various fish species.
Well, that's something. 600,000 gallons
It
of
says
water.
more
600.
More than. Okay,
Can
so
you have the number?
any number.
14.72. I wasn't sure if this was going to go anywhere. Maybe there's not anything here, but when I saw that number,
It's damning.
I mean, you see it, right?
I see it.
It's plain as day.
What's plain as day? Explain it!
After a long and tedious thinking process, we're ready to present our findings. We just need
Okay.
to do one last preparation.
They're just gardening a bit. With a water gardener.
Alright, before we finish this section, I edited this together that I want you guys to see because I think it's really funny.
Around 146.73 meters, distance between the Earth and the Sun, perihelion, within 0.1%, 147 million kilometers. The ratio to its height, the Earth's circumference at the equator, 1/3%. Now, if you get the perimeter, multiply them by that number, circumference and polar radius, 99.3, 99.7
Oh
metric
my
tons,
God.
not metric tons, 1/3%, 3/60th, and just pseudo-archaeologists forcing facts together until something fits.
Now it's finally time to talk about how Philip thinks the power plant, the pyramid is a power plant.
Power plant time!
A side of the pyramids the Google debunkers don't want you to know about. Harnessing energy from inside the Earth and transmitting it wirelessly around the world for free. The Giza power plant theory.
Everyone
What?
take a shot, he said. Google debunkers hoped that I wouldn't live in an era where there would be people who would just be so cocky about championing their stupidity.
We finally have the scientific and just plain commonsensical proof to back it up.
Commonsensical? Is that even a word?
Okay, no you fucking don't. I'm sorry, you have commonsensical proof that the Great Pyramid of Giza was a power plant? You better back that up, young man, or I'm gonna call you today goddamn full of it.
Pyramids. Don't y'all get a little half chub when I talk about
I know, he is pyramid sexual. I forgot about that.
them? Cause I sure do.
Dude, what? Honestly, not really. Did I already cover this part? Did I
We
already cover
did!
the half-chub joke?
We did!
That they were built as tombs for pharaohs, but there's just endless evidence against that. I spat 10 unbelievably raw facts about the pyramid.
Unbelievably raw facts. Oh my god. Please tell me in the comments below, does this really work? Is that how I should speak? These are 10 unbelievably raw facts about fitness.
Pyramids in the previous video, which were all true, but of course the Google debunkers desperately tried to prove them wrong.
I really fucking... You know what? No, I don't hate this guy. I hate his caricature. I spit 10 unbelievably raw facts about the pyramids, but of course the Google debunkers try to prove them wrong.
They're just stopping me from spreading the facts.
Unbelievably raw facts that he talked about are the things
Raw!
that he's like, if you go to the speed of light and the perihelion and the axis of the Earth at the equinox. Yet again, Philip, your only argument against people who disagree with you is those idiots actually did research.
We'll let them have their fun so that we can focus on exploring history with a critical mind.
You're the least critical person I've ever met. You are the definition of chugging the fucking Kool-Aid, Philip. Every single theory you have talked about is somebody else's theory. You haven't come up with anything. All of this is something that some other shill came up with and you fell for. You are not using your critical thinking skills. You cannot act...
Fell for or exploiting people to spread misinformation that he found on the internet.
like you are some champion of truth when you're just falling for other people's lies. But am I really surprised? I mean, this is kind of how all the do your own research people think. Or, you know, do your own research is like, you know, I listened to a podcast and read like a Facebook post about it.
The simple truth is, no one in history would ever make something so precise by accident.
No shit.
Because we see the same in the materials used for constructing the pyramids. They're the same materials we use today for electrical conductivity, which is no stranger to the ancient world.
You want to back that up? Oh, he's about to. Give me a sec.
In 1934, an artifact known as the Baghdad Battery was uncovered in Iraq.
Wrong. Debunked. Already made a video on it. Nice try, though, Philip.
Because the materials we used to build it are exactly what we'd use today to create an electric current.
Oh, Philip, that's actually a pretty interesting theory.
Oh.
You noticed that the pyramid is made out of similar materials that today we use to conduct electricity. So you think that there's a chance that there could have been some sort of, like, you know, electrical component to the pyramid. That's actually pretty clever. Did you come up with that? No, of course you fucking didn't. Are you kidding me? It's from this book. This is The Giza Power Plant, Technologies of Ancient Egypt by Christopher Dunn. Philip's power plant theory, Dunn's power plant theory that Philip is rattling off here, states that the materials used to build the pyramid are things which, you know, contemporarily can conduct electric current, and if you, you know, manage to make the pyramid move in the right way, it could have produced electricity. Of course, Philip didn't actually come up with this, which is fine, but I just do want to point out here that, yet again, he is peddling someone else's theory and not really adding anything to it other than being smug like this.
Giza used to be covered with bright white casing stones that were virtually airtight, made out of polished limestone. Oh, they just wanted the pyramids to look all nice and white and cute, right?
Is that a bad reason? You're building a tomb for a fucking god. I would also make the pyramid shiny and white. Are you
Yeah, shiny and white is nice.
kidding me?
So much that they were willing to drag stones the length of Florida away to do so.
Stones the
Again, that was the boat. We were here already, Philip. Move on.
length of Florida? I don't think they did that. Philip, please, I am literally begging you to use Google fucking once, because they did not drag stones. The Aswan quarry that you're about to bring up is located on the Nile River. They didn't just drag the
The Nile's a river in Egypt.
stones through the desert, Philip. They put them on ships. They sailed them down the fucking river. I cannot believe that you didn't even bother to Google that. In you not doing research, you make everything sound so much less possible because you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. These fucking idiots want you to think that they dragged them the length of Florida. Nobody wants you to think that, Philip. That's ridiculous.
Special limestone from Tura happens to have less magnesium in it than regular limestone, making it an ideal insulator of electricity.
He's gonna just kind of rattle off a bunch of points from this book about the materials that it was made out of and, you know, all the things that support the idea that it was used for producing electricity. And now, this is where I'm gonna kind of hat in hand, Philip. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say something, and you guys are all gonna bear witness to it. And some of you at home are gonna let out a big audible gasp. I gotta fix my hair first, okay?
Oh.
I actually think, on paper, this theory is really interesting. Before anybody fucking says it, I don't necessarily think it's true. I still firmly believe that the pyramids were burial structures. I don't think that they were used for producing fucking electricity. But from my very surface level understanding of this book and the bullshit that Philip is saying in here, this theory was sort of concocted by a guy who understands electricity much more than I do. This is also me, you know, practicing what I preach of, I'm not a fucking electrician, I'm not a physicist, I'm not gonna talk like I'm an authority figure in electricity because I'm not. That is so not my field. Now, I need to preface by saying I have not read this book, and I definitely do not think that the pyramids were a power plant. But I can tell that this guy's research was actually very good because the points that Philip brings up are also good. And you know that if Philip is saying something that makes sense, the person that he's copying from must also say something that makes a little bit of sense. So my takeaway from this video, and by proxy, my vague
He needs to read the book!
understanding of this book, is I have no doubt that the components... Let me correct that. I have no doubt that the materials in the pyramid have the capabilities that Dunn says. You know, quartz can conduct electricity. No shit. You know, if there was this many chambers and you had, you know, this sort of gas in this one room, you could produce power from it. I don't doubt any of that. What I doubt is that the pyramid was a power plant. I have no doubt that the materials in the pyramid could have some sort of electrical producing capabilities, but I do not think that that was the intent of the power plant. Sorry, the intent of the pyramid. Wow, that's a bad thing to say. Read the blurb on the back of this book. Did a highly advanced civilization exist in prehistory? No. I guess it depends on what your, you know, definition of highly advanced is. Is it's like highly advanced that they knew how to build a giant pyramid with, you know, their own manual labor and nothing but ingenuity? Or, you know, they needed fucking Atlanteans to come do it for them? Because that first one definitely existed. The really smart people have existed all over the world forever, and yet we seem to have a hard time acknowledging that, don't we? Is the Giza pyramid a remnant of their technology? Then what was the power source that fueled such a civilization? The technology of harmonic resonance, claims renowned master craftsman and engineer Christopher Dunn. In a brilliant piece of reverse engineering based on 20 years of research, Dunn reveals that the Great Pyramid of Giza was actually a large acoustical device. By its size and dimensions, this crystal edifice created a harmonic resonance with the Earth and converted Earth's vibrational energies to microwave radiation. The author shows how the pyramid's numerous chambers and passageways were positioned with deliberate precision to maximize the acoustical qualities. This may be the same technology discovered by Nikola Tesla and the solution to our own clean energy needs. As it stands right now, I do not see enough evidence to support that the pyramid was a power plant. I do not see that. That being said, I do have a lot of respect for people like this who, even if I don't believe in their theory, and a majority of people don't believe in their theory, he wrote an entire fucking book on
It's more like it could be just a coincidence.
it. That's science right there. What Philip does... Wow, it's fucking windy out there. What
Oh.
Philip is doing is not science. Him and a lot of these other creators will just sort of rattle off other people's points, but I have a lot of respect for people like Dunn, and even for Graham Hancock, who are able to actually put merit behind their theories. Granted, I don't believe them, but I have a lot of respect for someone who's at least trying to play the game in sort of the scientific process. Now, yeah, Hancock does the same thing that Philip does, where he spends, you know, about a quarter of the time crying about it, nobody wants to listen to him, but at least he actually, you know, wrote books to try and back up what he's saying. So what I'm going to say to you, Philip, about this part is I'm going to read this book and I'm going to make a video talking about it. I'll get in touch with some people
He did read the book! Let me know if it was
who
good.
probably know a lot more about this. If there's any electricians watching this video, or hell, Egyptologists watching this video who are familiar with this work or want to help out on it, shoot me an email. So in a show of good faith, I'm going to read this and I'm going to entertain what Christopher Dunn has to say, because that's fucking science right there. Philip, honestly, thank you for the book recommendation. I'm curious to see what he has to say about it. Okay, now if you thought that the topics we've talked about so far are brain dead,
Oh,
you are in
no.
for a really bad
Oh,
surprise.
no.
Before we get into the next section of the video, next God knows how many minutes, is really why I was saying that I hope Philip doesn't actually believe these things. Because you're about to hear words come out of what appears to be a grown man's mouth that sound like they should be coming from a 5-year-old.
I'm scared.
You will know them when you hear them. Let's talk about the giant obelisks.
Round 16, the giant obelisk. I have returned with a snack because that's how long this video is.
So we only been scratching the surface this entire time? Archaeologists are constantly finding new chambers in the pyramids that go far deeper than the outer ground level of the base. And they still haven't been able to find the bottom yet, so exactly how deep does it go?
They haven't been able to find the bottom of the pyramid? That's just such a weird thing to say, Philip. How did you know what the height of the pyramid was earlier if they don't know where the fucking bottom of it is? I'm Googling this right now. With a base length of more than 230 meters or 750 feet per side, the greatest difference in length among the four sides of the pyramid is a mere 4.4 centimeters. That's not really what I asked, but it is giving me the measurement of the bottom part of the pyramid. Why would you even say that, Philip? That's just straight up not true. I get that you're building a career based on lying, but like you could at least try and cover your tracks a little better.
Tall obelisks like these have been found all over ancient Egypt, each with a pyramid-shaped tips.
No.
So I wonder why. Almost every other ancient structure was initially buried when we first found it. Now I know, these buried obelisks would have been mother crackin' enormous.
See what I mean? Like, he can't actually believe this, right? Like, the dude's, like, I mean...
That face, that screen now!
I would say that the fucking base information
He's got a semi!
you need to not believe this is to be fucking literate, and at least Philip seems to be literate. That leaves us with two options. One, he's saying these things so that people who believe it will, you know, follow, and it'll, you know, sort of churn up to them, in which case he is intentionally spreading misinformation that he knows is wrong. Or B, he knows that it's going to be, like, controversial and sort of stir up interaction on his videos, in which case he is willing to make himself look like a dumbass on the internet in order to get clicks. Philip, you are worth more than that, my man. You don't have to do this.
To move. Let's take a second to compare to this national monument in Wyoming called the Devil's Tower. Very old rock and the only one of its size in the area, thought to be a natural formation. On closer look, it looks oddly like a petrified tree stump with many more like it around the world, which if that's the case leads to the question, who cut it down?
Oh my god. I feel you, Milo. I feel you.
Wow, you ever just hear something so dumb you just like look off into the distance like someone's coming to save you? I found a little ladder I can sit on. Maybe that will make my life slightly worth living. Okay, the giant tree stump theory is stupid. Okay, so we don't think it's a natural feature. We know it's a natural feature. Also, weirdly, even if it was a tree stump, like you said, or you claim it is, it would still be a natural feature. I don't know why you picked your words that way.
Yep, if it was a tree stump, it would still be a natural feature.
And I'm splitting hairs here a little bit, but that was just a very weird way to start this. Yet again, we see an example of Philip having a wonderful opportunity to use his platform and his teaching ability and his ability to connect with an audience to teach about something really fucking interesting. We know exactly what the Devil's Tower or Bear Lodge is. Bear Lodge being the indigenous name for it before, you know, settlers showed up and were like, hey, Satan, let me give you a couple ideas here, Philip. You could have made a video talking about the indigenous folklore that the striations on the side of it were created by a giant bear trying to get to some children who were trapped at the top and scratching on the side. You could have made a video talking about the geologic history of it, about how it is a, you know, solidified magma cone and how the volcano of softer rock has worn away over time, just leaving behind the dome. You could have made a video about its discovery and how it's been turned into a national monument. You could have made a video about all kinds of things. But instead, you decide to stick with your caricature of saying something really dumb. Yet again, I am not telling you to get off the internet. I'm just telling you that you have a responsibility to use your channel for something that isn't fucking lame.
Maybe the same giants who built these massive obelisks, which possibly got buried after worldwide floods, only for the tips to be rediscovered thousands of years later by the Egyptians.
Tinfoil hat alert? Bro, it's a fucking lobotomy alert. I want to know how you go about your day after making one of these videos. You know, do you make this like after work or something like that? You film this up in your room and you're like, yeah, you know, giant obelisks created by giants and giant tree stumps also grown by giants or something. And then you post it and you're like, yeah, that was good. And then you go
That felt good. I can sleep well tonight.
down and you have dinner with, you know, your family or your partner or something like that, and you lay your head down tonight thinking, I've left a good contribution to the world today. What do you think when the camera goes off, Philip? I need to know. I want a psych evaluation of you.
The evidence of these giants is found all across the world, from the pyramids in Devil's Tower to these giant steps in Peru, the plain of jars in Laos, Easter Island, Nam Madol in Micronesia, this giant knife found underwater near the coast of Madagascar.
Anytime they mention something weird about found underwater, reminds me of that sculptor that sculpted a handsome Squidward and they threw it in the bottom of the ocean. And in 1,000 years, somebody's gonna find handsome Squidward and they're gonna be like, oh my god! aliens.
Even historic texts such as the Bible refer to a race of giants called the Nephilim.
When I filmed this video for the first time, I decided to do a bingo card. I was filming at my girlfriend's university, and I had a spare room, so I had a blackboard back up. So I did a big bingo card on the wall, and this one section right here would have been like a full bingo. I'll bring back the bingo card for another video because it was a really good gimmick, but I felt like it detracted from this video a little bit, so I decided to nix it in the reshoot.
All ancient discoveries which were either far too big to be practical or even physically moved by ancient humans. Once is an anomaly, twice is suspicious, but this many times all over the world, I think there's something we don't know here.
Who the fuck is we, Philip?
Yeah, who is we? Because not me.
Let's not say that we don't know something here. You don't know something here. You don't know how to connect to the internet. Consider that your palate cleanser from all the other slightly more well-researched conspiracies that Philip has been parroting for the last, fucking 6 hours or however long this video is. But with that little piece of, shaved lemon ice, we are now transitioning into a lot more stuff like that, where Philip just says things that are so insanely wrong, I don't even really need to do research to debunk them. How about this one, where Philip tries to claim that there was an ancient Egyptian civilization in the Grand Canyon.
What? Ancient Egyptian civilization in the Grand Canyon?
Ancient Egyptian tombs inside the Grand Canyon? That's what an explorer found right before the government closed the area off from the public.
Whoa! They closed it to the public? Smoking gun. Philip, you could gain just so much quality in your videos if you just weren't so afraid of opening a search engine. It doesn't even have to be Google. You could be a Firefox debunker. The reason the government closed the area to the public was because in 1908, Teddy Roosevelt was in the process of having the Grand Canyon turned into the first national monument. They weren't trying to do some big fucking cover-up. They were closing it so that people would stop mining and lumbering and destroying the entire thing. Oh my god, dude. I can't believe how much shady shit the government actually does in front of our faces, and this is the stuff.
Exactly. Actually talk about real government shit that they're doing, and not just oh my god, they closed the Grand Canyon because oh my god, it's from an ancient civilization from Egypt because it's just another pyramid.
You're the government. The government doesn't give a fuck about you, Philip. They don't give a fuck about me. We are on the same team here. They're the ones that all fucking hate us. I mean, Jesus Christ, if you're a reflection of our fucking education system, they're trying to take us down from the inside.
Way back in 1909, the Arizona Gazette reported a story of a miner, G.E. Kincaid, looking for gold in the Grand Canyon. While journeying down the river, he came across what looked like steps carved into the canyon side, so he decides to check it out. The steps, he claimed, were perfectly carved, not a natural formation, and as he approached the top, he came across a man-made cave entrance. He went inside, turned on his light, and saw a tunnel. He kept going until he comes across an enormous room several hundred feet long.
No. You know what? I'm gonna let this whole thing play out real quick.
In the middle stood a giant statue of what looked like Buddha.
Okay, I lied. I'm gonna interrupt. The statue of Buddha in the Egyptian colony in the Grand Canyon. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? No, Philip, you're on to something.
Holding lotus flowers in each hand. Now, Buddha has nothing to do with ancient Egypt, which actually makes this more of a mind trip.
No, it makes it even more wrong. This doesn't even make sense, Philip. Oh my god.
Looks like it was an ancient underground city, which actually exists all around the world in places like Derinkuyu in Turkey.
I should have done a separate bingo for this one, where there's just one item on it, and it's just seeing how many times he brings up something that he heard while watching Ancient Apocalypse. Because I'm pretty sure he does it at least once every video, and it's really funny.
Kincaid was amped. This gotta be the discovery of the century, so of course he leaves and asks for funding to explore more from the Smithsonian, the world-leading museum research and education institute, the gatekeeper of archaeological findings made by the US government.
Gatekeeper. Oh my god.
Really, the fucking Smithsonian. It would be such a simpler life if I thought that the government entity I needed to be worried about was the Smithsonian.
I'll gladly agree. They send a team of scientists and miners led by S.A. Jordan to fully excavate.
So, that story didn't happen. The whole
Of
story
course
of
it didn't
G.E.
happen.
Kincaid and S.A. Jordan and the Egyptian civilization found in the Grand Canyon, again, I cannot stress this enough, did not happen. There is no evidence of either of these two people existing. There is no record of S.A. Jordan. There is no record of G.E. Kincaid, despite one of them being allegedly a researcher from the Smithsonian.
There would be a record for somebody like that.
If they were truly there would be record of them. And if I see a single fucking comment saying like, well, the Smithsonian must have made him disappear and covered him up,
Oh
shut the
my
fuck
God.
up and stop drinking mercury. The reason we're watching this video now is because Philip is doing
Or stop licking lead paint.
something which he's going to do really egregiously later, which is
Oh.
citing old newspaper articles from the early 1900s as if they were fact.
Oh.
Many newspapers from the dawn of time all the way to now have decided to make shit up. Why is that? Because their job isn't to tell the truth.
Because it's clickbaity. It's olden time clickbait. It's like a YouTube video that says, oh my God, these 10 facts that'll blow your mind. It's the same thing.
Their job is to sell newspapers. So if you run a small Arizona Gazette in the early 1900s and you publish a story about evidence that there was a fucking Egyptian civilization found in the Grand Canyon, you're gonna sell a lot of fucking newspapers. Ethics be damned. Philip is actually a modern interpretation of that, because his job clearly isn't telling the truth, it's selling fucking newspapers. Thankfully for him, there was a whole bunch of newspapers in the early 1900s that published a litany of bullshit stories that he can now leech off of and republish again in a digital format. So no, this did not happen. There is no evidence of an ancient Egyptian civilization in the Grand Canyon. I don't know how else I can say it than that.
Egyptian hieroglyphs spotted outside of Egypt, absolute nonsense, right? Maybe, but this isn't the only time that such a claim was made.
Oh,
like
no.
the Gosford hieroglyphs carved into rock in Australia.
Wrong. Already debunked. See Awful Archaeology episode 7.
Ancient Egyptians had overseas contact with the Americas, completely destroying their current narrative of isolationism, which states that groups of humans evolved independently of each other all around the world.
Okay, I know what he means there. He doesn't mean that groups of people evolved independently of each other around the world. But you're really taking off the hyperdiffusion mask here, Philip. You literally just admitted that you think that the world was not subject to isolationism, but the opposite, hyperdiffusion. Whether you know it or not, you are literally saying, you know those, guys who had some questionable ideas about, human genetics and human evolution and anthropology from the early 1900s? Yeah, their theory was the one that was right. Now again, I know you're not taking the theory of hyperdiffusion to the same place that they took it, but at the end of the day, they would agree with you on that. And I think that should be pause for concern, Philip. I don't think that you should have very many things that you can confidently say you would agree with an early 1900s eugenicist on. The idea of isolationism is also not really the right word, because there's no anthropologist on Earth who thinks that societies evolved in a vacuum. Every civilization had contact with every civilization around them, which is why you sort of find cultural similarities as you move across the world. It was a, beautiful
And the big difference is being across the ponds.
patchwork. So saying that the general consensus is isolationism is just wrong. You've just made up an argument that nobody fucking thinks. As you probably picked up from the last couple minutes here, if there's one thing that Philip hates more than the pesky Google debunkers, it's the Smithsonian Institute. Because he really thinks that the Smithsonian Institute destroyed giant skeletons.
No, this is Smithsonian destroyed giant skeletons, round 18. No!
And then we actually started finding them. Hundreds of skeletons of these supposed mythical giant creatures uncovered all over the world, most notably in North America.
Yeah, what the fuck is that map? You're probably familiar with this argument. We found so many giant skeletons all over the US, and then the Smithsonian Institute destroyed them. A, I would ask to anyone who believes in this bullshit, why are there only giant skeletons in the US? And then B, I would pose an answer for you. The United States is predominantly a colonial country. When our founding fathers traipsed their way across the ocean and came over here, they were like, who are these people that are in our way? Well, they won't be in our way much longer, and they fucking tried to murder all of them. Sure enough, we find the, Mississippi River Valley and all this, really fertile farmland. So the settlers show up and decide to pretty much level fucking everything. As they do this, they start to level indigenous mounds from the civilizations that lived
It's so sad how much was destroyed by stupid people.
here since time immemorial. Since a lot of these mound building civilizations were along the Mississippi River, they end up finding all kinds of artifacts. Pretty much all of the people who have moved out to this part of the country now are not archaeologists, they're farmers. So they have really no expertise in, identifying human remains. Now they pick up human skulls and bones out of the, human graves that they have just desecrated, and before you know it, it turns into a big fish story. You get a guy saying, I found some bones in my backyard, another guy saying, I found a femur, and it was like It was like, I don't know, like this big. Which is why, Philip, I'm actually very glad that you showed this map because it illustrates my point almost perfectly. You will notice that the highest concentration of giant remains is from the fertile farmland in the center or Midwest part of the country. All places where there's a long history of indigenous people burying their remains in large earthen mounds. Mounds that were plowed up when they started farming the land.
Found all over the US and even into Canada and Mexico, carbon dating analyses showed that these remains were much older than even the native indigenous people.
No, they were not. That is absolutely wrong. Stop talking. Really, just stop talking.
And even these Native American tribes who had zero contact with the Egyptians and the Sumerians had their own legends of a time when enormous humans roamed the earth. Like the Choctaw tribe in present-day Mississippi.
Yet again, with the hyperdiffusion, hitting us with it. How did these indigenous people have the mental wherewithal to come up with the idea of a giant person? If we're conceding to the fact that they didn't have contact with ancient Egypt, really sticking to your guns there on that one, Philip. I thought that was like your whole thesis last time. But if we're gonna say they didn't have contact with ancient Egypt, how would they have known what giant people were? I think the greater question should be trying to find a civilization that didn't have a legend about enormous people.
That's
because
true.
That's kind of like the easiest shit to come up with. You look at a
It's so easy. What if there was big humans? What if there was a giant lady? All I want to do, all I want to be is a giant woman.
person, you're like, wow, what if they were big?
He had stories of the Nahulo, a race of giants that ate humans.
Oh, he's just gonna do this thing where he talks about how different tribes had different, stories about giants.
From the Paiute tribe of red-haired giants called the Siteka that also ate humans, who, according to legend, were burned alive in Lovelock Cave, Nevada after a long battle.
Oh boy. I finally get to talk about Lovelock Cave.
Ooh, Lovelock Cave!
Lovelock Cave is amazing archaeological site that only gets publicity from idiots like this.
No!
I put it in the Awful Archaeology Wheel of Pain, or maybe I'll even just do my own one-off video on it because it deserves a deep dive. But I'm gonna try and tell you guys just the spark notes on it in this video. Now, we're actually gonna be doing a collab for this part where I'm gonna have a legend, a hero, an archaeological educator tell you the history of Lovelock Cave and the legends surrounding it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to welcome Philip Ziba.
The cave was even excavated, and findings were published in 1929 that reported enormous handprints on the wall, Paleolithic artifacts, human bones with the marrow removed, which could be an indicator of cannibalism, a size 29 sandal, which would belong to someone at least 8 feet tall, massive clothing, and finally, mummified remains of a female skeleton 7 feet tall and a male 9 feet tall were also found, both with red hair.
Thanks, Philip. I don't know why you threw some of that in there, but I appreciate you coming out today. Lovelock Cave is an incredible example of archaeology, anthropology, and indigenous storytelling. As Philip said, there is a legend about the Siteka, the red-headed giants of Lovelock Cave, that is perpetuated by the Paiute people. As the story goes, there was a race of giants that lived in the cave, and, they were defeated in a great battle by the Paiute people. Now, first and foremost, let's dispel some of Philip's misinformation here. They did not find a giant skeleton in this cave. They did find the skeleton of a woman who was 6'6".
Which is not even that weird. There's lots of women that are 6'6".
Which is pretty tall, but not a giant. They also did find some larger sandals, but most of the stories were embellished by miners who were trying to draw tourism to the area. But what's so frustrating about bullshit like this is that it completely overshadows the actual story of Lovelock Cave, which is fucking crazy. What these conspiracy theorists won't tell you is that Lovelock Cave is home to its own culture, the aptly named Lovelock Cave culture. And Lovelock Cave has evidence of human habitation for almost 3,000 years, dating back to 1500 BCE.
Wow.
Inside the cave, archaeologists found some amazing artifacts. Not only did they find, baskets, shoes, and clothes, but they found beautifully preserved duck decoys. When you look
Duck decoys?
at Lovelock Cave today, you may think to yourself, why the fuck were there duck decoys in that cave? It's in the middle of the Nevada desert. Well, about 3,000 years ago, this area would have been surrounded by low, flat, freshwater lakes, as was much of the area in Utah, Nevada, and Eastern California, places which I visited on my Dark Roots documentary trip, which I swear will be coming back soon. I just needed to kind of get some ducks in a row, some duck decoys in a row. So what we're seeing here is evidence that there was a culture that lived in these caves at a time when there was fresh water in these lakes, and they would use their duck decoys in order to, use the natural resources in the area, which is a fascinating piece of history, but Philip won't fucking talk about because he's too busy blowing fucking smoke up your ass. So now, imagine this
I don't want smoke blown up my ass. I want my ass to be smoke-free.
site when there were lakes here. This would have been a cave located on a stone ridge, almost island, in a massive, shallow, warm, freshwater lake. This place would have been an absolute paradise, and so of course a culture arose around it. In fact, if you look at the topographic map of the area, you can actually see striations on the hillside showing where the water level was over time, which is just kind of a neat feature. But the elephant in the room is that this isn't in a lake anymore, which leads us to the second part of this story. The environment in this part of the country changed a lot. Lakes dried up, the migratory birds never came back, and the area became a lot more sparse in resources. And this put the pressure on to the different groups living in the area who now had to compete for much more scarce resources. As I said earlier, every legend has a fragment of truth in it. I will say again, I am not an expert in the Lovelock cave culture, but I do have a background in archaeology and anthropology, so I think I can apply that here to give you my interpretation of the story of the Site Ka. I think that this story is a lasting oral memory of a conflict between the ancestors of the Paiute people and the Lovelock cave culture. Both groups were competing with scarce resources, and it sort of turned into an us or them situation. And I think that the story of the Site Ka is a lasting oral memory of the final battle between the Paiute people and the Lovelock cave culture at Lovelock Cave. And why do I think this? Because we have actual archaeological evidence of it. There's evidence of ash and char inside of this cave, not to mention human bones.
Because they found that 6.6 woman, right?
The story goes, the Paiute people lit fires at the mouths of the cave to suffocate anyone inside, and everyone who tried to escape, they shot as they tried to run down the mountain.
That's horrible!
It would have been an absolute fucking massacre. But it would have been an event that was definitive in the Paiute people's way of life and future going forward. After all, they were the ones who now occupied that land. And so the story is told time and time again over the course of hundreds of years, and every time it's embellished a little bit. Instead of just being another group of people, they were a race of giants, man-eating giants who posed a threat
They had to kill them because they were dangerous.
to the Paiute people and their entire way of life. And so that final battle, no matter how epic it would have been, turned into something of legend. A heroic fight against all odds where the Paiute people were able to defeat a race of giants. Is that not a fucking awesome story? Again, I want you to take this interpretation with a grain of salt, because I am just using the sort of puzzle pieces I have at my disposal here and trying to put them together. But you can see there how storytelling is such an important part of history, and people like Philip who take it all at face value are actually doing much more harm than good. They act like they are somehow being immensely reverent of the indigenous, but what they're really doing is just taking their stories and bastardizing them to support their fucking, neo-spiritual beliefs. Anyway, I'm done talking about Lovelock Cave for now. I'll make a video about it later, but I had to share that. Isn't that fucking cool? There's so much great information out there that is available to all of you. Be the Google debunker. Open your fucking internet, open a search browser.
Search something!
Type in any topic you're interested in, and you will be able to find more information than you can possibly comprehend about it. This is the single greatest time to be alive and curious. The answers are out there. The truth is out there. Be the Google debunker.
Be the Google debunker.
Lou, that sounds like giants to me. What's crazy is that's literally only the tip. So let me show you the
He loves saying the tip.
whole shaft.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
my God, that
no.
was whiplash. I just had so much fun talking about anthropology, and now I have to hear Philip talking about his shaft.
Back to the Smithsonian!
1833, a sarcophagus unearthed in Lompoc Rancho, California, 12 feet long with an intact skeleton inside. 1870, an article in the Oil City Times reported an 18-foot skeleton.
Okay, so he starts talking about all these newspaper articles from various times where they said they found giant skeletons.
This reminds me of Orson Welles' World of the End of the World, where everybody believed the radio show. Like, they actually thought the world was ending. They really, truly believed it. And it's like this newspaper just spreads bullshit too, right? And they just write stories for clicks. and Philip is the one falling for it.
Again, their job was selling newspapers, not selling the truth. So when you get a fucking miner who's been drunk off his ass for 3 weeks, who just, raided an indigenous burial site in the mountains, and he says, I found a fucking 18-foot skeleton up in the mountains over there. Also, I don't think I'm gonna say that out loud. I don't need sound bites of me saying things that are racist, even for a bit.
Giant skeletons with 2 rows of teeth found near Serpent Mound, Ohio.
Giant skeleton with 2 rows of teeth. What the fuck?
Why would they have 2 rows of teeth, Philip? Explain it to me.
But of course, do some Google debunking yourself and it'll tell you every one of these reports was a hoax. Yeah, because there were over 1,000 accounts of these giant remains found all over North America and every single one of them was just a prank, right?
Yes.
It's a little weird, Philip. Are you gonna, ask any questions about that? Why is it that there's been over 1,000 giant remains discovered, but we don't have any of them. No pictures, no actual evidence, no physical evidence.
Oh, don't you know, Milo? It's because the Smithsonian conspiracy destroyed it all.
That's a little weird, right? Now, a normal person would say, oh, it's because it didn't happen. And, you know, the whole thing about newspapers hyping up stories to sell more newspapers is actually correct. But Philip has a very unique spin on this.
Oh.
Philip is a firm believer that the Smithsonian is responsible for destroying giant skeletons. This is partly because Philip is incredibly gullible, and I'm going to show you exactly why.
The bones, and we can lay this one to rest. The newspaper articles, journals, town histories, and such that outline these finds cite a common recipient of these remains, the Smithsonian, the world-leading museum education and research institution created by the good old U.S. government.
I don't think there's a single greater piece of evidence that these conspiracy accounts are sheep by definition than the Smithsonian destroyed giant skeletons. It is a claim that these fucking shills will say pretty much across the board, and yet none of them will ever say where it's from. And so I decided to, and hear me out on this one, actually do some research. Do you want to know?
How dare you Google debunk, Milo? We're not Google debunkers, not those smelly Google debunkers.
Where the claim that the Smithsonian destroyed giant skeletons comes from? It started out on a website called the World News Daily Report, which is a satire news website. You process that, right? It's a satire news website. It is not real. It does not exist. It was made with the intent of being fake. And this fucking idiot is just saying it because he heard someone else said it and is so fearful of actually doing research that he doesn't give a shit. So this website no longer exists anymore. I can only find this article on the Wayback Machine. But let me give you a little idea of what this website was about. I'm gonna read the description of the website from the Wikipedia page because yet again, if Philip can't be fucked
You could have just Googled it.
to do any research, I'm not going to bother going past Wikipedia to research a satire news website. World News Daily Report, or WDR, was a satirical fake news website purporting to be an American Jewish Zionist newspaper based in Tel Aviv and dedicated to covering biblical archaeology news and other mysteries from around the globe. Uh-oh, Philip. I don't think that's really the kind of thing that you want to be reciting without knowing where it's coming from. It is run by Canadians Janik Murray Hall and Oliver Legault,
So disappointed in my Canadians.
and follows the old-school tabloid-style faux journalism of its predecessors, such as the Weekly World News. I've talked about the Weekly World News before as well. It's another satire news website that conspiracy theorists fall for all the goddamn time. Remember that short that I did where there was the guy saying that they found the kingdom of heaven in the waters above? Yeah,
Oh
that
my
article,
God.
was a Weekly World News article, which is the same place that published the Bat Boy thing. I swear to God, these people will believe literally everything except the truth. So now that we've all established that Philip is
It's because the truth is boring, Milo. That's why. They want to have magical thinking.
citing a fictitious American Jewish Zionist publication, let me tell you a little bit about this article. So again, this website no longer exists. I can only find this article on the Wayback Machine, but it was published in 2014. And it's entitled, Smithsonian Admits to Destruction of Thousands of Giant Human Skeletons in Early 1900s. The allegations stemming from the American Institute of Alternative Archaeology, or AIAA, an institution that does not exist, that the Smithsonian Institution had destroyed thousands of giant human remains during the early 1900s was not taken lightly by the Smithsonian, who responded by suing the organization for defamation and trying to damage the reputation of the 168-year-old institution. Now, obviously, that is not true. This did not happen. This is literally made up on a website that is dedicated to making shit up. Now, I don't inherently have a problem with websites like this. In fact, I appreciate the fact that no matter what their intent was, at the very least, World News Daily Report carried this tagline on all their articles. WNDR assumes, however, all responsibility for the satirical nature of its articles and for the fictional nature of their content. All characters appearing in the articles in this website, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional, and any resemblance between them and any persons living, dead, or undead is purely by miracle.
See, I like that they have that because it says that at the bottom, but at the same time, like, they know what they were doing. They know that if they make these articles, like, that dumbasses will believe them and spread them, and that gave them more clicks and more money. Like, that's the problem with, like, people like Philip, right? They keep spreading this misinformation. Oh my God. People like Philip, they just keep spreading this misinformation, and then they end up with people that just continue to exploit these ignorant people, and then we end up having people that just don't want to believe truth. They just don't want to believe the truth anymore.
Pretty funny. Ahaha. Wow. Philip, if I were you, I would be pretty fucking embarrassed about that. Now, before you give an excuse about like, well, I heard it and I've heard other people talk about it. Yeah, but it all came from this. If you're gonna be peddling your information to 1.5 million people, you should have the fucking backbone to open Google once. You are peddling something from a website that literally carried a tag saying, whoa, guys, this isn't real, and you're there saying it like it's fact to 1.5 million people. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself, dude. Really, I don't know how else to say it. Like, whether you believe it or not, you are really willing to fucking whore yourself out to
Philip needs a little a blip saying, "Oh, warning, this is satire."
say misinformation on the internet so that you can get more views. That's fucking scummy. It would be one thing if he was like citing something that everyone could see is wrong, and most people can see this is wrong, but these videos fan the flames of like a genuine animosity towards the Smithsonian. People in the description are talking about the Smithsonian covering up other things now. Now, Phil,
Oh,
this may be a joke
no.
to you, but the words that come out of your mouth are things that people actually listen to, and it has an actual impact on the world. Like, the government does all kinds of shady shit, but you're not fucking talking about it. You're literally doing the government a favor by taking the heat off them and pointing it at the Smithsonian Institute.
And when he asked if he could see it, they told him it was in a warehouse that was contaminated with asbestos for 10 years. Yeah, this is the real documented story, which they probably could have gotten away with if it wasn't for the good old internet. Hey, he tried as best as he can, right? So basically, the Smithsonian has all the bones, which are technically native cultural artifacts. But hey, I got some good news that could finally show us the actual truth once and for all.
Oh my God, Chad, he has good news.
Back in 1990, the U.S. passed a law stating that federal agencies must return all native cultural artifacts back to their tribes upon request. Well, hot diggity dang, if that sounds too good to be true, it is. If you look into this act on the U.S. government official website, a fine print subsection clause from the law itself explicitly states that the Smithsonian is exempt from this act. Man, it really don't get any more bait than that. This is some evil
What?
genius
What bullshit is this?
shit.
Philip, you know what? I know I just went hard on you. You are completely fucking right. The act that Philip is talking about there is the NAGPRA, the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. You know how we talked earlier about how everyone kept plowing up the indigenous grave sites and then just like stealing all their shit? Yeah, that ended up becoming kind of a
Of course it would be a big problem.
problem. So for a very long time, Native American human remains were not classed as human remains. They were categorized as artifacts, like
What?
potsherds, which, whoa, okay. So they made a thing called NAGPRA, which not only did the real service of making sure that Native American graves counted as humans, but also mandated that many of these remains and artifacts need to be returned to their original groups and tribes, which is great. It's horrible that it even had to be a thing that was said in the first place, but it's good that there's at least effort being made now to make sure that these things are returned to their rightful owners. And that thing that Philip just said is also true and is really fucked up. You guys should be just as pissed as Philip is about this, and he has every right to be pissed about it. This is what I mean, Philip. Can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I think your heart's in the right place. That is
You just need to stop falling for horrible things.
an absolute fucking travesty that the Smithsonian is able to keep Native American remains. Now, granted,
I can't believe they're the claws.
the Smithsonian has done a lot to do some forms of repatriation. I'm not gonna act like they're, you know, some fucking, you know, evil mega corporation. But again, the law was written to make Native American remains, like, count as human remains, and so, like, asking them to take it the next level and say that even the government has to return them, like, they weren't gonna fucking do that, let's be honest.
They
So
were not gonna do
make
that.
a video talking about that. You got 1.5 million subscribers. This is something people should fucking know about, but instead you're bitching and moaning about the Smithsonian doing something they didn't do. And the only time you tack on an actual problem that this country is facing, perpetuated by the US government, is at the very fucking end. Jesus Christ, dude. Come on.
If you don't know what to think of this, let me remind you of a famous quote from Ronald Reagan. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government, and I'm here to help."
This motherfucker did not just end a tirade talking about how bad the US government is by quoting Ronald Reagan. This dude has to be a fucking joke. Do you think I could stab this through the wall? I was gonna do it for dramatic effect though. I was gonna just like fucking... I mean, that works, I guess. I think there's some weird slats in there. I'll just leave that there for the rest of the video. Is that even in frame?
Ronald fucking Reagan. Oh my god, dude. I really just can't believe this guy. I don't even know what else to say about that. That just writes itself. It only would have been better if he quoted fucking Nixon. Oh man. No, I'm not leaving that there. That's a little too intense. I'm gonna take it down a notch here, fellas. We're getting to it. We're getting to the thesis. Now, I only have only question I have is why haven't we found giant bones?
Why haven't we found? Oh my god. Why haven't we found giant bones?
I miss the early days of when I was on TikTok because every conspiracy video started like this, where it's a guy like with something really stupid in the background pointing up and going,
But we may actually have, my friend. We may already have. Let's take a second to get a few people mad out there with these photos of excavated giant bones found all over the world.
You know Photoshop exists, right, Philip? I could Photoshop this. I could literally Photoshop this.
this guy, dude. Let's take a second to get a few people mad out there.
But why would they be mad? Oh, it's because these are fake.
Oh!
These are fake, guys. Philip admitted it.
He admitted it!
One of these fucking yeah, Philip, honestly, I'm giving you a point for that because I've seen a lot of it almost feels like I'm stereotyping a little bit when I say you people. Can I say that? I've seen was that movie called The Irishman?
I want what I'm fucking owed. You people. You people. What'd you say? Oh my god. What did you say?
A few moments later.
I'm Italian, okay? I know that you people isn't a very good thing to put out into the world. Anyway, Philip, you people always use these fucking videos.
It's because these are fake. That's right. Every one of these photos of giant bones have been deemed fake, but I'm gonna show you the real one.
Honestly,
he's gonna show us the real AI ones.
I'm just glad to finally see one of these people actually saying that these are from an archaeology photo editing contest, because they are. Thank God.
Let's start off easy. These 6.5-foot femur bones are confirmed real and weigh around 1,100 pounds. But they were of course labeled as dinosaur bones, belonging to a species called sauropods. Real
Because they're dinosaur bones. Philip, that's a dinosaur.
convenient being able to just slap a dinosaur label on any potential giant remains we ever find, huh?
You have to be making this up, dude. I feel like I'm like going insane. Like how do you?
We're all going insane with you,
How
Milo.
do you do this? Look at this 6.5-foot femur bone. The scientists want you to believe that it's a dinosaur. They always label everything a dinosaur. It can never be a giant. Also, not to nitpick, but sauropods are not a species. They are a clade. Look, if I'm going to be a Google debunker, I have to at least be like a little bit of the stereotype that he's trying to
Actually.
do, you know? Actually, it's a clade.
A lot of people will say, it's only one bone, where's the rest of the giant then? Oh yeah? Where's the rest of the dinosaur, motherfucker?
What a weird, like, red herring argument.
Oh
They
my
say it's
God.
a dinosaur bone, but it's actually a giant. They'll say, where's the rest of the giant? Yeah, well, where's the rest of the dinosaur? Mic drop. I'm not even gonna fucking argue with you on this one, Philip.
But you know what? They might actually be dinosaur bones, so let's not jump to conclusions yet.
No, don't even fucking start with me on that. That is like
Don't
the most
backtrack.
annoying thing that he does. You could at least commit to being an asinine dickhead, but you can't be like, these fucking sheep want us to think that they're dinosaur bones, and then make a bunch of points that don't make any sense and make you look like an idiot, and then end it by saying, well, hey, we don't know, maybe they are dinosaur bones. We do know they are dinosaur bones, and you're the one who is trying to make us think they aren't.
Like this two-headed mummy discovered off the coast of Argentina in the 1600s.
Philip, there's conjoined twins nowadays. Conjoined twins have existed. There's conjoined twins right now. You can go and meet them.
Measuring 12 feet tall and currently on display in a museum, confirmed by many physicians to be real.
It was made by P.T. Barnum for the circus.
Philip, you can see other images of it. It is very clearly desecrated human remains that have been stitched back together. Scientists have looked at it. It is not a real human remain. It has 2 fucking heads, Philip. What are the odds that a living creature, a human, lives to be that age with 2 heads? I don't even need to argue it. Again, you're just saying things that are wrong.
Now there's this, a giant skeleton over 23 feet tall, uncovered in Ecuador and 100% confirmed real, which was later dismissed as an ancient sloth. Like,
There is ancient sloth. There's ancient giant. You can see that's a sloth. Does that look like a human too? Do you look like that underneath your skin, Philip?
come on, they're just making shit up at this point.
They're just making shit up at this point. A giant sloth. Oh, I'm doing it again. I'm looking off into the distance, just in sheer desperation. How do you... Oh my god. I'm like at a loss. Like, how can you look at the skeleton of a giant ground sloth and actually have the balls to say to an audience...
Like, there's a tail, you can see it. Or is that big... Does Philip think schlongs have bones in them?
...of people, they want us to think it's a ground sloth. What a bunch of idiots.
The San Diego giant in 1865, which is one of the smaller ones, inspected by dozens of scientists and featured in many newspapers. After which the Smithsonian purchased the giant for a pretty large sum, and then all of a sudden, many years later, they dismissed it as a hoax, saying that it was made from gelatin and we never see it again.
You know why you never saw it again, Philip? Because it was made of gelatin. Who the fuck would keep a giant fake mummy made out of gelatin?
That would be embarrassing to keep.
A lot of the time, the difference between a conspiracy and fact is time.
Not in this case.
Now, I'm not saying this is 100% one of those cases, but keep that mind open, people.
Yeah, dude, my mind is open. All our
Not saying I'm lying, but not saying I'm not lying.
minds are open. My job as a scientist is to have an open mind and hear all the different things. That's why I just fucking said, this actually sounds interesting. I am going to read it. But this? Okay, you know what? I need to wrap this up because I got my thesis to get to. Wait, one more.
Are we seeing evidence of giants everywhere and just continue to ignore it? Like this guy who just recently saw a giant peeking through and closing a stone door in some cliff rocks up in Oregon, and he... He's definitely not the first.
Guys, we have proof giants are real. Really? What's the source? This guy.
Have a look at
This guy.
Cave paintings all around the world, over 15,000 years old. Giants.
Okay, and then he goes into hyperdiffusion. Candles burning low. We've been talking about this guy's bullshit for a long time. I'm gonna center myself because now is the point where I've broken you down, Philip, and I understand that. If you did watch through all of this and you're hearing me say these words right now, I really tip my hat to you because I ran you through the fucking gauntlet. But now, I want to build you back up. So let me just take a fucking second, grab a drink of water, because I actually do want to give you some encouragement here, and I have some good ideas for you.
Build me a buttercup. He's giving Philip too much. I mean, he's a nice guy, you know? Like I would, he's being too compassionate with Philip.
Philip, throughout the course of this video, I've put you through the ringer. If there's any part of this video for you to watch, it's this part, because this is the part where I'm kind of going to put it all together in a lot less of my caricature way. If there's one thing I really hate about sort of, you know, like reaction content or like commentary content, is that it sort of just publicly humiliates people and then doesn't go anywhere with it. I'm gonna totally admit, I've fucking blasted you in this video, but I'm not just another commentary
We both blasted him.
who's here to just, you know, tell my opinion on something. Your caricature came into this video a lot because your caricature is a very big part of your videos. But at the end of the day, the thing that I am the most concerned with is the content you're making and the things that you're saying. So first, I do want to say that I'm sure that word of this video will get to Philip somehow. I anticipate this video will do pretty well. And I'm gonna be totally honest, I don't think he's gonna watch the entire thing, and I don't really blame him. If I was the topic of this video, I probably wouldn't want to sit through 2 hours of someone calling me a dumbass. But what I will ask you is for any of you that are planning on going and making Philip aware of this video or anything like that, please tell him at the very least to come to this timestamp and just watch this part of the video, because this is the part where I'm really gonna kind of dial it in, make it a lot more, you know, palatable, and try and offer some constructive criticism as well. Philip, I want to talk about your caricature really quick. I know that my caricature and your caricature, as I said, went toe-to-toe in this video. But as a man to a man and a creator to a creator, I actually don't really dislike your caricature. I think it's kind of funny. It's entertaining. You have crass, irreverent humor, and at the end of the day, I kind of feel like I'm looking at a peer when I see that. Because I am the exact same way. I have been doing it for the last God knows how many minutes. I can't believe I'm saying this after this entire video, but I encourage you to keep this caricature. Now, granted, I think there's some ways that you could refine it a little bit. I don't really think that it's nearly as cool as you seem to think it is when you say, I'm gonna say something that's really gonna piss people off, and then you just say something that makes you look kind of dumb. So maybe try and move away from that stuff. You don't really have to do that. But as far as you being crass and even the fucking dick jokes,
Don't y'all get a little half chub when I talk about them?
keep it up, dude. I don't care. At the end of the day, as a science communicator, it's something that I honestly don't really want to move away from. In some of my other videos, I try to tone down my swearing and things like that, but it helps us connect with an audience. I'm not here to teach the university
More relatable when you have normal speak.
lecture. I'm here to teach 2 million people on YouTube. And if swearing is the thing that coats the pill with peanut butter and allows people to learn something, I will swear, you know, every other sentence. But no, the larger thing that I want to talk about here is the content you make itself. I speak very candidly when I say that the content you make is incredibly irresponsible. You have a following of 1.5 million people, and for whatever reason, you have chosen to platform misinformation. Not only are you platforming misinformation, you are platforming anti-intellectualism. I know I made a lot of jokes throughout this video of your whole Google Debunkers thing, just because I think it's just a fucking cute sentence that I'm gonna make fun of. But you have to realize that there is actual harm in you saying that. By making fun of the Google Debunkers, you are actively discouraging people from doing research. You are actively working against the very thing you...
You're basically just telling people to just shut up and take whatever somebody's shoving you with a spoon of down your throat, you know? Like, accept whatever facts that somebody's saying. Don't question it. Don't look into it. Don't do your own research.
claim to be championing. You keep saying stuff about people and to keep an open mind and be critical and stuff like that, and then you immediately tell them to not do research. And on a personal note, this comes around to bite you in the ass, because I can tell that you don't do research. You hear these topics parroted by someone else, and then you just regurgitate them. Any mistakes that you made in interpreting those already erroneous claims are just carried over to your new audience, and you state it as fact. You never cite any of your sources, you never say where anything's coming from, which even adds further to preventing people from being able to check the things you say. The way you're using your platform is incredibly manipulative. And while most people are smart enough to not fall for your bullshit, there's a lot of people who are not educated enough to be able to question the things you're saying. You are actively preying on people who have been left behind by this country's education system. I'm a firm believer that there is no such thing as stupid people. There are just people who have been taught different things than you. And you, as much as I can't believe I'm saying this, are a teacher. And you are dedicating your time and energy to teaching a lesson in stupidity. And I feel like I can say this very openly because I don't think you actually believe the things you're saying. And I have a lot of reason to believe this. Because in making this video, I went back through every single thing you've made. Yes, I prioritized the, ancient history conspiracy theories because that's my forte. I'm not going to talk about the other stuff. But I can literally see from the views on your videos that you have started to make more conspiracy videos because they're the things that get more views. I know for almost a fact that whether you believe this or not, you are doing it primarily because it gets you views. Now, I'm going to hold myself back from calling you a fucking sellout again because
Sellout.
I've done that enough in this video. Instead, I want all of us to go back and watch something that I genuinely love, and that is your very first video.
Do you know that you're actually made of stardust? So, in case you didn't know, stars are like this. They're giant balls of gas in space that produce a lot of heat and light. And inside the core of these stars, there's a process called nuclear fusion in which small atoms combine together and to create even bigger atoms. And a lot of heat and light is produced in the process, which is why the sun's so hot. And eventually, the sun runs out of atoms to fuse, meaning it runs out of gas, and so it can no longer produce heat and light, and eventually it begins to cool off and die. And when a star dies, it can explode in what's called a supernova, which is basically just a big-ass explosion that sends all of the star's inner matter and dust and shit just hurling throughout the universe. And then what happens is this matter which was formed through the nuclear fusion process, includes elements such as carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen, which are the basic building blocks of human life. And so when this matter begins to spread out throughout the universe, it eventually begins to clump together through gravitational forces to create new stars. And then around these new stars, you kind of have a bunch of residual stardust swirling around it, which in itself begins to clump around the star and form planets. Eventually, one of those planets forms life, just like it did here on Earth. Therefore, that life was formed from the matter on that planet, which came from stardust. Therefore, you, my friend, are a star.
Philip, I love this video. This video is great. I have nothing ill to say about it. You are
It's so
fired up and interested
wholesome.
and have a topic you want to share with the world, and I fucking love it. In editing this video, I have had to watch through your stuff so fucking much. And even though I know that you are not the person on the screen is the only one I was exposed to. And so every time I would finish editing through your fucking TikToks and arranging them into the way that you saw now, I would just be fucking brain dead by the end of it. Like, I was frustrated, I was like, you know, writing into my script all this shit like, fuck this guy. In order to calm myself down a little bit and remind myself that you are an actual person, I would watch this video at the end of all of my editing sections of your TikToks. Because this video, to me, is the closest that I think any of us have seen to who you actually are as a person. And that's why at the beginning I made a really big point to say, like, I don't hate you as a man. I don't hate you as a person. I don't even really hate you as a caricature. I just hate what you're doing with your content, and I hate what you're platforming.
Sellout. You hate that he's a sellout, that he decided that misinformation did better than actual information, and so decides to lean into that. I mean, becoming a grifter is so popular, especially here on YouTube and on TikTok and Instagram and all of them things. Like, grifters make bank, so it's like, why not be a grifter? And it's sad. It's sad to see sellouts.
But all of that said, you are a fucking phenomenal communicator. I just wish you were using it for something better. I can tell that you are actually interested in all the topics that you talk about here. You are interested in ancient history, you're interested in space and science and the mysteries of the universe, and God knows there's so many of them. And that's really the thing that I want you to take away from this. I know I've said it in this video a lot before. I don't want you to get off the internet. I think you're a fucking great creator. I really do. You have 1.5 million followers saying shit that's wrong, which is fucking beyond me. Now imagine what you could do if you actually talked about real things. Imagine what you could do if you actually talked about stuff that fascinates you, something that drives you, something that you're fucking hungry for. Even these conspiracies are things that you could talk about in a better way. What if you actually did, you know, take the time to fucking read this book and break it down, talk about some of the arguments and the counter arguments. You'd still be talking about the mysteries, but at least you'd be saying something that's founded in reality. You'd be sharing not only information in this book, but telling people where it's from and what some of the alternative viewpoints are. See, Philip, the biggest mistake you made is not making all of these bullshit videos. It's leaving up that very first one and the ones that come after it. Because I can see right fucking through you. For a brief moment watching this video and some of the ones posted around it, I can see right through the camera to the man sitting behind it. And as I scroll through your page, I come to the first 2 videos that you really made about conspiracies. These kind of conspiracies, ancient history conspiracies. And they're both about Easter Island. And they both got a fuck ton of views. Philip, I'm a creator too. I'm a creator who started not knowing what I wanted to do on the internet. I just downloaded TikTok because it was funny. And here I am on YouTube making a career out of this shit. So believe me when I say that I know the feeling where the first time that I made a video that got like 10,000 views, 15,000 views, 50,000 views, I was like, that's it. I'm gonna do that. Mine happened to be archaeology and history. People loved when I talked about that. So I almost did the same thing you did, and I made a video, saw that it did well, and look where I am now. Now, I don't want to feign an understanding of you that I clearly don't have, but the way I see it, you did the same thing. The issue is that the thing that happened to do good for you was a video talking about conspiracies. And since then, you have dedicated your channel to doing only that. You have spread misinformation.
But not just that, it would be interesting for him to talk about the conspiracies, but talk about the conspiracies in a minded of like debunking them, right? Like he could be the debunker of that said conspiracies, right? Because like why do these conspiracies come from? Like learning about why people believe these things are just as fascinating as as the truth.
From fake news websites, you've discouraged people from doing their own research, you've shed doubt on professionals who spend years in this field, and you've peddled an archaeological hoax that a businessman made up to be a tax loophole to 30 million people. Philip, if I hadn't seen these early videos, I wouldn't have even bothered making this fucking video. Because otherwise it would have just been me shitting on you and there's no takeaway at the end. It's essentially an internet beef video where everyone's like, oh, yo, they're gonna go toe to toe. I'm not here to go toe to toe. But what I am here to do is encourage you to do better. Try branching out. Try making some other videos. And I know, as a creator, I promise you, I know that it is hard to break away from the thing that everyone knows you for. I know that all too well because I make my living on YouTube. The amount of money I make is directly proportional to the amount of views I get. You are at the whim of a fickle audience who may not take well to you trying new things. But that's where you have to make an important choice. Are you willing to set aside your passion, your morals, the things that you truly care about in order to get as many views as possible? This video is
I mean, that's like, as somebody who makes React content, I try to think about that when I pick out videos that I want to watch. I don't want to watch videos and just like bare my teeth and grin and smile and giggle when I don't believe what the creator's saying. This is why I've been really enjoying reacting to Miniminuteman and Milo and these kinds of content, things that I actually think are fascinating or intriguing or just knowledgeable.
Even an example of that. My entire shtick on the internet is dunking on the conspiracy theorists. I couldn't have made this video without going in on you. And I have some shame in that. I'm trying to move away from making my short form TikTok videos because they're just fucking easy. Anyone can make them. It takes me 40 minutes to make one of these things, and at the end of it, I've called another person stupid and people have gotten a laugh out of it. But I don't want to do that. That's not fucking fulfilling. That's why in this video, I'm trying to do a little bit more than that. I know I still have to be the guy who dunks, and I do have fun doing that. I'm not gonna act like I don't. But there needs to be some greater takeaway from this. Philip, I have one last offer that I want to make you, because I have to admit, I have a hard time making a 2-hour video essentially calling someone an idiot and claiming that it's for the greater good and then, saying, just do better. So I want to make an actual deal for you. Your primary platform is TikTok, and you do great on it. But I, as a creator as well, know that there's no fucking money to be made there. But if you really are passionate about this, and you want to be a creator, come to YouTube. You have a really big audience that you could move from TikTok over to YouTube, and you would actually be able to make some pretty good money almost right off the bat. Not only that, but think about the potential for yapping. I mean, there's no time limit here. You can talk for fucking hours.
You can yap for days.
I'm not even telling you to move away from doing conspiracy videos. If you do choose to keep doing the stuff you're saying, at least put fucking satire in your bio or something like that, or make exceptionally clear that these are not widely accepted theories. But what I want to illustrate is you are a good communicator, and people want to hear what you have to say. So if you do choose to take me up on that, and you come over to YouTube, and you decide to sort of refine your content to something that is not only more fulfilling to you, but also putting good information into the world, I would be happy to platform it as well. I'm sure that all of us will be thrilled to see you starting to make a transition into higher quality content, something that you can be really proud of. And I speak for not only myself, but also my substantial audience, that all of us are here to see you do better. And I speak solely for myself when I say that I don't want to do this again. I have my fingers crossed that the next time I talk about you, it is going to be me saying, you remember that guy? Well, look at where he is now. And hey, if you decide not to take any of my advice, well, at least you'll be able to pay my mortgage again. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it appears our candle is burning down and the day is drawing to a close. I would like to thank all of you for watching this exceptionally long video. If
it's so long. So long.
You enjoyed it, please give me an interaction. It would mean the world. I normally don't do videos quite this long, but let me know what you thought of it. I had a lot of fun filming it, so if you guys like content like this, I'd be happy to make more. I know I said it earlier, but if you were just playing this in the background while you cleaned your house or something, I'm so glad to have been able to keep you company. And if you have any friends that also like long video essays to play in the background while they clean their house up, feel free to share this with them. It helps me out.
I gave you undivided attention, Milo. My ADHD is suffering. But it was a joy.
Wow, this was a really long video. This has taken me a long fucking time to make. I hope you guys liked it. Really, this has been like a month and a half of me trying to make this happen. Well, I guess I have a little bit of reading to do. I got this, I got the Admiral Byrd Hollow Earth thing. If you guys want to see any of those, comment, let me know if you want to see them. And I guess with all of that, that sort of brings us to a close. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. I'd like to give an extra special thank you to my patrons on Patreon who get early ad-free access to all of my videos. All of your names will be in the credits of this video as a token of my gratitude, and links to my Patreon and second channel and all that are in the description of this video. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. My name is Milo Rossi. Remember to stay curious, stay inquisitive, and most importantly, be the Google debunker you wish
Google
to see in the
debunker.
world.
Google debunker. Bum, 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 bum. Thank you for watching, everybody. I think there is another part to it. Yep, it's his response. It's another hour-long video. So please comment below if you want me to watch his response, Philip's response. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.